All right, grand rising, grand arrival, grand return. Peace and blessings to the righteous and the repentant alike. This is a very special edition of the Toll Booth. We are live from our social media break. Live from the social media break and discussing passion, right?
Yes, yeah. The social media break has been very interesting, and I have been keeping an eye on like the socials though, in terms
Mm-hmm.
of what's going on, and like it's really so I Carl Icahn, he's like a very well known investor, activist investor. So he's one of those basically like one of these, he's like a predator, really. He goes into these companies, buys them up, and then just sells them for a profit. And whatever he does with the company, he's very similar to private equities in terms of kind of how they work.
Okay.
But the system, the financial system, basically screwed him over the last few years. And as a result, like he's lost his stock has lost like 80% in
Oh my
value.
gosh.
Yeah, I mean he's basically been under intense attack. I think he believes it's a coordinated attack. And he's been very outspoken about companies like BlackRock and Vanguard, these
Mm.
Jane Street as well. He calls it the three-headed monsters or something,
Oh
where he
gosh.
basically says that these passive funds have immense control over what happens on the board, like what the board basically decides. So ESG, all these different types of governance that really the the one world government was trying to push, the climate change initiatives, like all this just crazy lunatic stuff. These firms that hold the money of other investors are basically dictating these companies on what to do. And Carl Icahn believes that this has worsened the situation for activist investors to actually like push for changes within these companies, because a Vanguard is going to say no, we're not gonna accept that, or a
Right.
BlackRock is going to say no, we're not interested in that. It goes against our our priorities, but they're not the ones that hold the assets. It's the investors that have given their money to a Vanguard. So there's
Wow.
this really weird governance structure that has been allowed to essentially flourish. And Carl Icahn, publicly the last few weeks or last few months, but I picked it up last week, where he basically said that he is on a crusade against these the three-headed monster. And so
Wow.
I saw that post, got the intuition, and immediately supported his crusade.
Right.
And then, lo and behold, um, today, I think it was, yeah, I'm pretty sure it was today. Um, it says White House explores executive order targeting proxy advisor influence.
Ooh, child.
White House
What?
officials have discussed limits on how index fund managers can vote shares.
Wow.
So the Trump administration is considering an executive order to restrict shareholder voting. The plan would likely curb proxy advisory firms like ISS from giving voting advice and limit how major fund managers such as BlackRock, Vanguard,
Wow.
and State Street vote for investors. Discussions have been underway for weeks. Like, what? And the thing is, so what's interesting is discussions have been underway for weeks. So partly one is obviously influence, but two is this is what happens when we are in alignment. Is it's
Right.
not even just a matter of like, oh, we're going to force Trump's hand or the government's hand to do this or that. No, we are just aligning to what is, to what is real, what is reality, and it's conforming. So I just thought that was, and I think in many ways this segues well into the topic of passion, where I think passion in many ways has gotten a really bad connotation. It almost feels
Yeah.
like passion is erratic. Passion is um, all over the place. Passion is like very emotional, but really that's, I would say, in many ways an unrefined version of what could be passion. But real passion is very focused, it's very determined, it has a lot of conviction, it has a lot of determination.
Right. I looked the word up. I was I'm always looking for a Bible reference. And so they talk about the passion of the Christ, and that's basically how that word is used. And so there's a group of people who believe that Christ, the point of Christ is to suffer. And so that's how they have translated that word. I'm sorry. I told you, the smoothie king. Uh, that's a restaurant. So they have mistranslated the word to mean suffering. But I was looking in the Greek translated from Greek New Testament, and this is how they describe it. The importance of all this is that the familiar phrase, the passion of the Christ, makes use of this verb, which is pascho, Pascho. That's how it's pronounced, or that's how it's said in Greek. And despite its consistent erroneous translation, it does not mean the suffering of the Christ, but rather the experiencing of the Christ, or the things that happened to the Christ. So what you're saying is true. Passion is the things that we experience, that we have to experience. Like they use the example online that they use to describe this scenario is a story of when Jesus went into the Garden of Gethsemane to pray. And he takes 3 of his soldiers with him. He goes into the garden, and he's like, okay, listen, I need y'all to stay awake and keep watch while I go over here and pray. Well, of course they all fall asleep, right? And Jesus has this experience where he is literally crying tears of blood. And they couldn't they it's I remember looking this up a few years ago, and this is a thing that can happen, but it's just due to the weight of all the sins. Now I think actually is due to the weight of all of the spirits who needed to be saved, right? Like we're living, we can like do the saving ourselves if we need to, but once you've crossed over, someone does have to come and get you if you're not in the place where you're supposed to be. And the weight of all of that is what caused Jesus to literally cry tears of blood. But he asked the question, if it is if I can pass this on to someone else, let me do it. But if not, I will suffer this thing that I know I'm getting ready to suffer, because the Garden of Gethsemane is right before the Last Supper. So he knows that his time is winding down, and the pressure of that got to him. And that's what I view passion as. It is the feeling that you have to do something, and not because you want to do it, but because your life will not exist if you don't. Like you were not just born for it, you were called to do it. That's another way that they use that phrase, passion. It's like, this is your calling. This is the thing that you have to do. And I feel like a lot of people are totally out of alignment with this energy right now, because the things that they are called to do are things that they don't want to do. So like for women, our bodies are designed to give birth. That's literally what we are called onto this realm to do. And so what whoever it is has done, the structure, society, whoever you want to call them, have made it seem like women have some sort of other thing that they're supposed to do. But literally we're created to give birth. So that has to be on your list. And I remember doing a reading for someone and saying, listen, I just need you to put that on your list. Like, if you don't want to have kids right now, that's fine. It's not about the timing. It's about, is it on your list? And so there's a lot of women who don't have kids on their list until they can't have kids anymore. Then all of a sudden they're like, I should have, these things should have happened and they didn't. And so that's what passion is. It's that thing that you can't not do. And it seems to me like the younger generation doesn't have that. The things that they just, either they weren't introduced to enough different things, or the things that they think are their actual passion are things that don't matter. And I don't know which one it is or which one is worse.
Yeah, it's that's very fascinating. The what you said with what people are being called to do, they're not doing it.
Right.
And I feel that so heavily because I have a lot of people around me that I can feel. I can feel their energy around me, and it's their ego. Their ego
Mm.
is so it's they've built their whole reality off of their ego. At least a lot of these people have built their whole reality off of their ego. And so, in order for them to come back in a certain type of way, in a certain type of energy, which really is in a very submissive, open, embracing energy, is traumatic for the ego. It's an ego death. It is literally the death of their ego. And so, in order for these people to um, come back exactly as they are being called to do, because they're being called to come back to the empire. And now they've never left the empire, but they're being called to come and actually serve, and serve consciously and embrace consciously. And what you were saying is, and to be passionate, to finally, for the first time in their life, embrace the passion within themselves, because that passion has left them. That's why their life is so meaningless in many ways. That's why there's such a big void, because there's no energy.
Right. I also think that people are afraid to feel emotions. Like, in the past, it wasn't an option. You couldn't, I mean, maybe it was an option, right? But it was just unlikely that you weren't going to feel emotions. I think people were just more emotional, but it just like played off different. But because we've had so many wars and so much miseducation, people believe that feelings are bad. So like when people from the West hear about the practices of the East, they think like karate or tai chi or whatever it is, they think, okay, these people, they're even all the time, right? But that's not what's happening. What they're doing is they're focusing their energy into one point in which to express it. So if it's like karate, you focus all your energy and you break the board. Like, that is feeling the feelings, but it's like how you describe transmuting the energy. It's like storing all of those feelings so that you can use it on this thing. Or like when people play sports, it used to be that they took all that hurt and that pain and whatever, and they left it all on the field. But just like with the election that happened recently, these people are not playing to win. They're playing not to lose. And when you play not to lose, you're guaranteeing a loss, because lose is in there. Like, you either play to win or you lose. Like, there's no in between. And people don't like understand that because they're not feeling all the feelings. Like you were describing before, how now the administration is all of a sudden looking into these like companies. Well, another thing is now they're all of a sudden talking about giving out the Doge dividends. And it's like, that should have been done 6 months ago. So Trump let his team totally go off the rails for 6 whole months, causing basically this assassination of Charlie. And for what? To just come back to where you were 6 months ago and say, you know what, I was already on the track. Now I have to go back. I mean, I commend him for being like like publicly changing his position, because what most politicians do in this position, especially one who doesn't have to run for re-election, basically what they would do is they would say, well, I'm not going to do that, that's going to make me look stupid. Or like bringing Jared Isaacman in back in to run NASA. Fabulous choice. I don't care who he voted for or donated to or whatever. That guy is a self-made like billionaire who knows how to fly planes. That's who you need at NASA, not some intellectual, person who has never actually ran a business. Like NASA could be making boatloads of money if they knew how to do, if they had somebody who understood business at the head. And so it seems like one thing about people who have passion is that you know when to pivot, because you're feeling all the emotions. You can't get stuck in your ego. Like for all the people who say Trump has a huge ego and all of this, if his ego was that big, no way he'd be making these pivots. People whose ego like overtakes them, they can't pivot. And we talked about this a few weeks ago, maybe maybe over a month ago, about the ability and the need to pivot when things are not going the way that they're supposed to. People have to be able to turn the new corner, wake up and say, it's a new day, I've got to go in a new direction. And I do think it's too little too late with the financing and the government shutdown and all that stuff. I think it's too, because one thing that we have been discussing about that is, we gave them a deadline in which to do it so that they could be included in where this country is headed next, and they ignored it. What we know, they got the message because of their behavior. And so now, the way my friend put it is that basically they're trying to force the birth of a new nation in a way that they want when the nation has already been born. So they miss their opportunity to be co-creative partners in that. We're on a different timeline, and they don't understand this timeline because it's my calendar, and because it's not a secret and it's publicly available, they don't want to use it. And their old like weird magic and stuff is just simply not going to work anymore. And there's nothing that they can do about it, because we gave them the opportunity to come to the table and negotiate in good faith, and they don't have clean hands anymore. And one of the things about contract law is if you're going to negotiate, you have to have clean hands, which means you have to operate in good faith. And these people have not been operating in good faith. And so the nation has been born, the empire has been resurrected, and basically they don't have a seat at the table. But that's not our fault. We offered them a seat and they rejected it.
Yeah, we're in the club partying it up, and they're outside trying to figure out how to get into the
They
club.
can't even get in the
Uh-huh.
club.
Exactly, right. And I think with what you were saying about um yeah, the understanding when to pivot, knowing when to pivot is exactly right. And that's the thing. I think that the 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 word passion, or when people perceive passion, they see it as um uncontrollable. They see it as like, oh, this person like cannot be reasoned with. But that's the point. A person that is passionate, they cannot be reasoned with because they have been overtaken by a higher being. I mean, obviously, it could be a lower being, but in this scenario, what we're talking about, by God. And when God tells you to do a 180, to completely flip from left to right, you do it. There is no doubting. There is no, oh, but what if I lose money? Or, oh, what if it hurts me? Or, oh, what if this makes my relationship suffer? Or, oh, what if my friends are not going to like me anymore? Or this or that. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You do exactly as you are told to do, and you do it to the best of your abilities. Now, obviously, you're going to follow what you believe is in your highest good, what you believe your intuition is communicating to you. But the issue is with most people out here, especially those that have been overtaken by their ego. But it's not, I can't even say it's their ego. It's like a program. It's like a programmed
Right.
ego
Exactly.
into their being. So when the ego says, hey, come back, come and embrace the empire, come and serve the empire, come and finally heal and be empowered, what are they going to do? Well, my ego tells me I can't do that because then I'll look like a loser, or I'll look weak, or I'll look like this, or they'll be correct. And I cannot, let them know that they're correct. And I cannot, oh, they'll think they're better than me and this. And so they start thinking of all this bull. I mean, I've seen it time and time again. The amount of alignment the last 10 years that I provide for everybody around me, everybody has faded me. Everybody has ignored. Everybody, maybe the smart ones, the very few smart ones, they might try it out, but they don't follow through with it. And the thing with passion, you don't just try it out. You do it. You jump in. You don't think about, oh, well, how is this going to feel? No, you jump into the deep end. And it doesn't matter if you don't know how to swim or not, you figure it out. You figure it out. And so what has happened now is these people, because of their ego, are now at a massive disadvantage, which worsens their ego now, because now it's blatant. The stark differences in terms of what we are doing in this movement and what everyone on the outside is like looking at us, like the peanut gallery looking in. It's very challenging for them to begin to break down their ego and begin to make the move towards us. Now, the beautiful thing about what is going on in terms of currently in this reality is we don't care about your ego anymore.
Right.
The misalignment is getting so challenging, is getting so tough that you either follow the way or there is no other way. And I think what you were saying when it comes to Trump doing a 180 and Trump basically just listening to us, and
right,
we're whether they follow our accounts or not, it doesn't matter. Energetically, things are getting done.
Right.
Energetically, like we at this point, it's getting very close to all we have to do is just think it. But
right.
the key is the passion. There has to be passion behind it. And the passion has to be aligned. Because if there's no passion to it, like I could say, oh, I want to take down this person. But if the passion is not there, if it is not in alignment, you're going to have to do some sort of magic. You're going to have to do some sort of sacrifice. You're going to have to do some sort of mental gymnastics, energetic gymnastics to get it done, because there's no passion to that. But when we have passion, when we're driven by, as they would say, the passion of the Christ, we are his messenger. Right. And when we are his messenger, it gets done, whether it's a thought, whether we tweet it out, whether we speak about it, whether we communicate it with others. It doesn't really matter how it's communicated. When we have both cleansed our vessel and have the ability to enact his will via passion, it happens. And so what's happening with all these people out here that have these insanely inflated, controlled egos is it's getting worse every single day. Like it's getting to a point where like they're breaking down. They're going crazy. They're going crazy. And because they refuse to embrace. They refuse to serve. They refuse to see the light. Okay, that's great. We just keep intensifying it. So the smart ones, as you said, that have the passion, like Trump, yeah, they might not get it right the first time, but at least they're smart enough to know I got to be with the winners.
Exactly.
I have to be with, even if I might not like them or understand them or whatever it might be, I have to side with the winners. And that's where we're moving now, where people are beginning, obviously the elite, right? The managers, the ones that are going to be running the show in terms of like the businesses, the economy, this and that, like they are elites because they know who to follow.
Right.
And they're all beginning to start to get in alignment. They don't even know what it is. I don't even think they know exactly what's going on.
They don't.
They're just flowing with what they're being told to do, which is their passion.
It's the way I describe it is that it's in us. It's not on us. So you can't take passion off and on. Like either you have it or you don't. And the main part of that is that you don't cultivate it from the outside. Like, you don't have a passion for something because someone told you, like, as a singer, you know, I didn't want to be a singer because someone told me, "Oh, well, you sang good." That wasn't it. I wanted to be a singer because I had to sing. Like, anytime I hear music, if I know the song, I'm singing. I'm singing all the time. I come from a family of musicians. I have nothing but music running through my veins. I don't have a choice but to be a singer. There's no It was never a choice. It was always something that I was called to do. And I think because people are not exposed to as many things as they used to be exposed to, they have a very difficult time sensing what they're being called to do. Because you look at some of these people, like, there, I was telling you about the TikTok video with the girl who had the beaks stored in her dresser drawer, bird beaks, and this guy she was talking to found them, and she was puzzled about why he was like demonstrably concerned that she had these bird beaks in her dresser drawer. And that's somebody who haven't been exposed to it, because her comment on this was, he has sisters, he should know what they are and what they're used for. Because she said, what do you think women do all day? Sit around cooking and cleaning? And I'm in my mind, I'm like, wait a minute. She thinks that every woman keeps a man by doing magic. Like, this is how they get men to stay, is magic. Like, forget about the loving and the caring and the passion and all of that. Put all that to the side. It's bird beaks. Like, that doesn't even, I can't even, I told it to my friend and she was like, wait, what? I said, this is what these Gen Z women are doing. That is not passion. Like, that means they've never experienced like that feeling of liking somebody and like them genuinely liking you back. That means they like really have never experienced a heartbreak either, because once you go through that very first cycle of falling in love with somebody and then breaking up with them, you have the capacity to do that. And I'm not saying you should do it at like 8, like that's probably not good, but 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, whatever, that's fine. Like, but people who do magic, they don't experience the natural course of something. So when Jesus was born, the natural course was that he was going to be sacrificed. And it wasn't because, it was because for no reason that one of the scriptures, it said that they always sacrifice the prophets. So it's not like Jesus was going to be able to live out until an old man. Like, that was never nowhere in the plan, because in that time when he was born, anybody who was coming against the overlord structure, they removed. I mean, including all the prophets. Like, they was always killing the prophets all the time. And so if you're going to be born at that time, you know that there's a high likelihood that you're going to end up being killed for what you believe in. But that's for everybody. Like, it always surprises me how many people believe that they can hold a view, a deeply seated view, and that they will never experience any pushback for that view. And if you, like, I'm from like the DC area, and basically that's how everyone lives. Nobody thinks that if they hold a view that's unpopular, they are entitled to basically be safe. Like, if you hold a view that no one around you holds, you basically are like marking yourself for death. That at some point someone's going to come and shoot you for that. Like, that's just the way that it is. And people can say that that's not true, but they be lying. Because if you talk to people in the streets, they know, like, if you got on a pair of shoes and it's a nice pair of shoes, especially DC, they was killing people for shoes. They was killing people for jackets. Like, you're not allowed to stand out any more than the next person around you, because if you do, you are literally saying, I'm willing to die for this. And some people are, and I don't think people, I think the media has manipulated that whole situation in such a way that now, if this is something that you would know, because of, like, the media would just, like, portray things like that. But now they portray things like, if you are on the right side, whatever the right side of the topic is, you should be able to say whatever you want without recourse. And that is energetically not how it works. It never worked for any of that, for anyone. We were looking at Thomas Paine earlier, and he was heavily ostracized for his works, Common Sense and The Age of Reason. He was heavily ostracized for that. So much so that when he died, no church would inter him. And at his funeral, there were only 6 mourners, probably all black, I would assume. But there was only 6 mourners. And so he basically died in obscurity. But his works, like, again, Common Sense, The Age of Reason, have endured even till today, and they resonate. They are if you read Common Sense right now, it's like, dang, is he talking about today? I mean, he talks about the Jews, he talks about everybody. But do you see people, like, really going and digging down into Thomas Paine and his writings and applying them to the scenarios we have going on today? No. But they would apply directly. And so that's how you live forever. So these people like Kris Jenner and her thousands of surgeries to make her look young, think that you're going to live forever by letting your physical body live forever. But that's not what passion is about. Passion is about leaving a mark, leaving a testimony, a testament to the accomplishments that a person can achieve during their life. And that's exactly what Jesus did with his passion. He left a testament, a testimony that literally changed the entire world. There is no, because it's the way that we count our calendar, is all based off of when Jesus died, and knowing how far away from that cycle you are. And I just feel like if people really understood that that's what living forever is about leaving a mark on this world, on this planet, they would spend more time focused on finding their passions and less time focused on, trying not to feel the emotions. Because Jesus felt all the emotions. And if you look at the stories in the apostles versions, he literally felt all the emotions. There was no emotions he didn't feel. And so I don't know why it's so weird. Like, Christians can look at this stuff, but they can never apply it like that. Like, that's very simple, very basic. If Jesus felt the emotions, including anger, and what did he say? In your anger, do not sin. Like, doesn't mean don't get angry. It's just don't take it too far. And he went into the temple and turned over the tables. So obviously there's physical things that can go along with being angry that still won't constitute as sinning. So it's all of this stuff is very nuanced. And I think that's what passion is. I'm a singer, right? But I'm not willing to sing anything. Like, it's nuanced. There's things that I agree with, and there's things I don't agree with. Like, recently I've been listening to, like, old gospel albums from, like, the 2000s I used to listen to all the time, and I've been just going back and re-listening to them, and I'm literally mocking these people half the time I'm singing the song, if I can even get through the song, because some of the stuff that they're saying is so ridiculous that I cannot believe I never noticed how insane it was. Like, Kirk Franklin has a song, Silver and Gold. I'd rather have Jesus than silver and gold. Like, why would you say that? Like, so you mean to tell me you can, it's either or, either Jesus or silver and gold. Why can't you have both? Like the song isn't, or there's another song, it's talking about being caught up to meet Jesus with the trumpet sound, and I'm like, where is, like, is any of this actually in the Bible? Like, y'all got this whole song making people feel all emotional about this, you know, final trumpet, and everyone's going to be caught up in all of this stuff, and it's like, y'all think it's gonna be like that. This is so, you like, we always talk about the rapture people, but it's like this is where they get these ideas from. These songs have were literally like inundating the timeline in the 2000s, the early 2000s, really poisoning the minds of the people, telling them, hey, you're going to be, hey, if you're not on Jesus, team Jesus, the way we say to do Jesus, you're not going to be like the trumpet is gonna blow, the sky is gonna crack open, which, like, what what does a cracked open sky even look like? I can't, like, I just can't put that into like my mind what that would look like. But they're like, yeah, Jesus is gonna crack the sky and he's gonna come out the sky, and like I just don't even know how, like, it's um there's no way to even describe how that's possible. Just the way that the song goes. And it's like, wow, like, this is like amazing that people really believe this. But what I hear them describing is, all of that, there'll be no more crying, there'll be no more struggling, that means there'll be no more emotions. So if there's no more emotions, that means there's no passion, there's no life. Life is your emotions. And so if you don't have any emotions, and all of your quote unquote troubles are gone, that means you have no life. So I'd rather have troubles that don't last always than to be totally without troubles, and then I won't be a real person. I won't be living a real life.
Yeah, it's people are very scared to stand out, and I think this is why it's becoming such an intense, haunting torture to people currently that are going through this ego death, because they chose the wrong side, and they chose the wrong side a long time ago, like a long, long time ago. So they built their whole reality in this passionless
Right.
existence, which created this massive void, which created all sorts of blockages in their energetic being, which uh, greatly reduces the ability for God's divine energy to flow through the being. And because of this, they are like angry at those that had kept the passion through it all, those that kept
Right.
their devotion and their loyalty to the creator, to God, to the most high. And in many ways, I think they feel less than those that went through the intense suffering, those that basically accepted the fact that, like, yeah, I might die for being different. And the thing is, like, in many ways, we all were sacrificed endlessly
Right.
for speaking out, for being different, for standing up. And obviously, the system has programmed us to look at Jesus in terms of, look at what happens when you speak out. Look at what happens when you are like Jesus, when you come into this reality and speak up for humanity. This is what's going to
Right.
happen to you. You're going to get crucified on the cross. And now we're going to make you pray on that. We're going to, I mean,
Wow.
imagine you, Sophia, coming into this reality and doing everything in your power to have humanity see the light. And then the system does some crazy thing to essentially torture you. And then the system then says, oh yeah, now we're gonna proclaim how amazing Sophia is, and let's use the symbol of her basically being tortured as the thing that we worship.
Is
Right?
that
It's
not what they
insane.
is that not what they do though? Like, that you torture yourself for 30 years at a job, then you have a retirement party where they're like, "See, She gave us a good 30 years on this job and she was our best employee. And then, like, a few years after you retire, you're dead because you pledged your allegiance to that company, and when you left that company you were no longer yourself, you were no longer a person. Or when you
Mm.
die, they eulogize you. Is that not what it's like? See, she bore her cross and she went on home to glory. Like, okay, so you mean to tell me bearing my cross and suffering while all y'all watch me suffer, all y'all here who came to my funeral watched me suffer with no offer to help, and now I'm going on to glory? Like, why I can't feel no more emotions. So is it going to feel like glory when I get there? Or do they even teach,
Well,
like,
that's what you're working for, right? That's why all these people are working
oh my
like slaves,
gosh.
because that's what they think.
Right.
That's what they think is if I just keep functioning like a passionless slave, like I'm the rapture is gonna come. You know,
Yep.
Jesus is gonna come and save me. Some other entity, some other being is gonna see that I've been a good, loyal, submissive slave to the thing is, look, there's nothing wrong with being a slave in terms of to be submissive to a greater force. But the thing is, it's who are you being submissive to? Because
Exactly.
if you're being submissive to a misaligned system run by wicked people, well, obviously that's not going to end up in a great position. And that is why they're having a very difficult time coming to grips with reality, because they're realizing, holy shit, my salvation is I got to be submissive to these weirdos. I got to be
Right.
submissive to the ones who I went against, who I labored against, who I sacrificed on the cross. I'm going to have to see them, and not only see them, but I'm going to have to open myself up fully for them. And I can't even help it anymore because they're being forced into it.
Right.
So this is where it starts to get it's not slowing down. It's only going to
No.
intensify more. It's only going to get even more potent. And if they refuse to serve, well, their reality just continues to because it's in the same way that in the past, in order to move up in this reality, you had to be wicked. It
Right.
was very, very difficult to be a good person and be what they would consider successful in this reality. Now, obviously,
Right.
we know that success is much different than what reality shows, but like why do we have to suffer in this reality for aligning to God? Why do we have to suffer to serve God? Why are the incentives made to that incentivize being wicked? And that's what it was. People were incentivized to be wicked. So the
Right.
more wicked one was, the more money, the more fame, the more power, the more influence one was able to accrue in this reality. Now that the tables are completely turning, there are no incentives to be wicked.
Well,
There are
they're trying to find some. So two things. One is, okay, let me talk about Pope Leo first. So he met with the king like a week ago, and then the day after he met with the king, that's when they put out that papal statement about Mary just being, some regular girl from the streets, which is insane. And now the Pope is calling in the celebrities, the propaganda arm, to begin the propaganda campaign against Americans. Literally trying to take away our birthright and basically say that we deserve the caliphate. Like, they're literally trying to bring the caliphate to this land, and they're going to use these celebrities to do this. And I remember the first thing, which is what I forgot. They want to sacrifice people on the cross, and say that, oh, we're being like Jesus, but they don't understand we're the ones coming to save them. They always say, no one's coming to save you. That's not true. That's not true. We're coming to save them. And they don't want that. They want homeboy Jesus, I always call him. They want homeboy Jesus to come and save them, because they were promised homeboy Jesus was going to overlook all of their quote unquote sins and just allow them to come into the kingdom with all the sins that they have. And instead, you've got two hard asses like us that are like, you're gonna have to clean that up. Like, you're not gonna bring that ratchetness into my kingdom. Like, we don't allow that here. And so they are really like messed up on all sides, like, because on one hand they're being told no one's coming to save them, on the other hand they're being told that homeboy Jesus or the aliens or whoever's coming to save him. Meanwhile, it's us who's doing all this prep work that has a way out. But they were going to have to change their minds about working with people who are different from them, who believe differently from them, who look differently from them, who emote differently from them, who actually have the passion running through their veins. Like, they're going to have to turn into those passionate people that they've been avoiding their whole life. And I think that is also, as more people come to that realization that they're going to have to experience the emotions, that is going to be where you start to see people really losing it. I think that's what a lot of these mental illnesses are. People trying to suppress the emotions when they need to be feeling them.
Yes, definitely. Yes. And I was gonna say with the celebrities, how well did that go with Hillary Clinton? They rolled out the carpet for every celebrity. You had LeBron
Yeah.
James, Beyonce. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you had the top
Diddy.
celebrities
Diddy was
capping.
there.
Yeah,
Vote or die.
it was
That
a
was his
party.
thing.
It was a party.
Jeezy, all of them. Yeah, they was all
and
there.
and and that didn't move a needle. So the fact that they are De Niro, right? De Niro, I think, was one
Yep.
of the first to bring. So the fact that, and notice, it's De Niro. De Niro is, I would say, they're trying to appease, at least initially, the older people, like
Right. Of course.
the
Always.
boomers,
Yep.
the ones that are the
Easily
kind of the quote unquote
propagandized.
decision makers, right? But it's like that, like it's like, you guys have that little motion, that's your strategy, De Niro.
Yep.
Who's next? DiCaprio?
Right. Another
It's
one who's a weirdo. Yeah.
oh yeah, he's yeah, for sure. So um yeah, and so it's easier for humans to think Jesus, some higher being, some ascended God, some otherworldly being that is not human. They don't
Right.
believe, these people don't believe Jesus is human. They believe
Right.
he is like this other thing up there that I cannot reach, that I cannot touch, that I cannot become. He's
Right.
going to come and save us. So, as you were saying, for them to then begin to unconsciously come, and then eventually consciously come to the realization, holy shit, it's actually humans. It's actually people like me. That blows their mind, because that shows them right in their face. It tells them, you are not enough. You are not living passionately. You are
Right.
not doing what you're supposed to be doing. And look at those people. They are. And look
Right.
how bright they're shining. Look how powerful they are. Look how much their love is radiating. Look at their power. Look at their gravitas. Don't look at Jesus anymore. Look at them.
Right.
And that is, again, very triggering, because we are the ones that they have sacrificed. We're the ones that they threw to the wayside, that they just discarded, that they just, oh, who gives a shit about them? They're the
Right.
weirdos. They're the black sheep. They're the crazy ones. Meanwhile, they're all embracing everything that made us crazy. We have the path. The path is the black sheep. The
Right.
path is what they all heavily negated, and now they're embracing it with open arms. But they don't want to embrace the humans behind it. They don't want
Nope.
to embrace the actual humans who have been doing the actual work to get it done. Because who's been doing this work? It didn't just
Mm.
magically show up. It didn't just, the way is not just magically being embraced. No, it's because the work of people like us that have been putting in years, not even just years of work. This is lifetimes. This
Right.
is lifetimes. This is generations. This is bloodlines that have sacrificed so much to put us in these positions, to be able to have the wherewithal and level of consciousness and conviction, because we
Right.
had to have I mean, I don't even try to look back at what I have mentally, just purely mentally, have had to go through in order to be where I'm at. And then I have people in my surrounding that are still trying to compete, acting like they can just like slide into what I've become. It's like a video game where
Right.
people think that they could just like select my character and start playing as my character. And it's like, that's not how it works. You have to do the work. And the thing is, with doing the work, what they're really afraid of is, as you said, is to feel their emotions.
Right.
That's it. It's about feeling your emotions, because that is very vulnerable. And that the few times that they have allowed their emotions to run rampant, they've gotten their heart broken, they've lost money, or whatever it is that they've done. And I think what you were saying with these girls that do the magic is they like it they have such intense emotions, but they've bottled them up because they've gotten beaten down to a pulp.
Right.
Because every time they have tried to express those emotions, which is the passion, obviously they get decapitated. But these girls, they're not, like, one, in general, for a human to deal with that is very challenging, but
Right.
specifically for a woman,
Right.
because
It
a
is.
man is at least, he has, and the thing is, there's very few men out there just to begin with that are even at this level. But like, at least the man has the story of, I'm the provider, I can be
Right.
the alpha, so it's like, I'm willing to take the brunt as a man, to be basically sacrificed, to put myself out there in the front lines and just take it on. A woman is programmed, is taught to be submissive, to be
Right.
soft, to be docile, to be this, to be that. So obviously, very few women. It's going to be a select of a select of a select of very strong women that are able to stand up and say, no, like, F off. I'm not bowing down. I'm not allowing myself to be, taken for a ride. And even when, because we all get taken for a ride. It's not like
Right.
we're just
Exactly.
excluded from being taken for a ride. We're all being taken for a ride, but we can come back into our stasis. We can come back into our recalibrated state, where we, shake off whatever we went through and we continue going. But these people, especially these girls, they can't shake that off. So then they they cope with, oh my gosh, that pain was so unbearable. I'm not going to let that happen again. I'm going to take control. I'm going to take control of my life. How do they take control of their life? Through magic.
Through magic. Yeah.
That's the only way, at least that they see.
And it's sad because, like I said earlier, like the purpose
And
of a
then we come
woman.
in and just destroy that control.
Right, exactly. Because the purpose of a woman is to become a mother, but it's not the only thing. Like, you're supposed to have multiple passions. Like, that's the part, like, they kind of leave that out in the Bible, but they kind of mention it, but they never go back to it, because Jesus was a carpenter. So you can only imagine that he was literally building things. Like, he used those carpenter skills to obviously lay the foundation for the church, but I'm sure he was literally like building things, whittling things. People who are good with their hands like that, they do lots of different things. And that's another thing, like as far as the propaganda, the mental propaganda, is like they have people convinced that, like, if you're a jack of all trades, right? What do they say? Oh, jack of all trades, master of none. People used to say that to me all the time, and I'm like, I need all of these skills. Are you crazy? Like, I just never let that even, like, get into my mind for too long, because literally I need all these skills to do what I want to do. Like, I have to know how to do it. That doesn't mean I have to do it myself, but I do have to understand the mechanics of it. Like, I can't, like, just like trading. Like, I learned how to trade. I learned how to trade with the scam coin. Then I learned how to trade with the Forex. And I was like, okay, I know how to trade. So I know how to identify how the trading thing works. So once you know that, then you can invest your money with a broker or whoever and have the robots or whatever do the trading for you, but you know what to look for. These people who like have their money invested in all these different places, but they don't actually know how any of it works, that's how you get scammed. Like, that's how people in the crypto market keep getting rug pulled, because they don't understand the mechanics of how the stuff works. And once you understand the mechanics of it, then it's much more difficult to be like scammed about the whole thing, because you know what things to look for. And so because people like have been told that they just need to be oh my goodness, I'm not going to scream. They need to be focused on one thing, and that one thing is what is going to get them to where they want to be, or whatever the case may be. Like, that's not how it works. Like, you need a multiple number of skills in order to accomplish what you want to accomplish in life. And so you're not just going to be passionate about one thing. Like Jesus was passionate about, he was a carpenter, then he had his homeboys there, so he was passionate about all his friends and his friend group. Then he had his mother, he's very passionate about his mother. Then he had all those people that were following him. Then he had the ones that he gave the commission to, the 70. Then he had, you know, he was feeding everybody, he was making sure everybody, he was always teaching through stories. Like, this is the kind of thing that you would expect to see from somebody who was passionate. And a lot of these people, they can only talk about one thing. Like, for all of Elon's faults, which is very many, he can talk about a wide variety of subjects. And even for his Asperger's or whatever he has, his mental quote unquote disability, he still can talk about a wide variety of subjects. He's not limited in his scope of understanding. And the things that he doesn't understand, at least we see on the timeline, whether it's real or not, he asks questions about. He's not just like, oh, well, I don't know this, so, and I'm not going to ask anybody, and I'm just going to believe what I already have in my mind. No, he does the actual work, like, at least it seems like to me, of understanding what is going on. And I just don't see too many people in his position doing that at all. Like, they don't do it at all. Like, literally, they just, if they don't have an understanding of what's going on, and somebody in their circle can't explain it to them or tell them how they can make money off of it, because really that's what that really boils down to, then they don't even care. They don't even get involved in it, which seems to be like outrageous to me. But that's what they've told people. Like, oh, Warren Buffett is a trader and all you have to do is follow his trades. Like, no, like, he's and I see that he's actually like stepping further back. So he probably gonna die soon. It must be very soon. He said he was stepping down or something at the end of the year, but he must know his time is almost up, because he is literally like pulling back way more than I would expect for him, especially when the market is so high. So yeah, something is definitely going on with that. But yeah, it's they don't even understand that there's a whole, you know, these people have multiple things that they're interested in. So there's this Michael Jackson movie coming out, and of course most young people, because he died, I think, in 2005 or something like that. So most young people don't have a frame of reference for an artist like that, because now you have Disney artists and these other artists, and they don't have this multifaceted like life like Mike did. And so people are now seeing, like, through this documentary, that like Michael Jackson was way more diverse in his behavior than people knew, like, or this younger generation ever understand, because they don't have any people that are like this. Like, I guess the top one is Taylor Swift, but she's clearly not diverse. Even Beyonce is not diverse. These are people who lived one life. and the life that they put out in the public is the only life that they've lived. They haven't lived separate lives. But if you look at somebody like Michael Jackson, he liked Disney, so he's got pictures with all the Disney characters. He's also somehow in a gang, so he's got all the pictures with the Crips or whoever. Then he also, like, he has all these siblings, so he was doing stuff with all of them, with Janet, and he knew everybody. Like, everybody knew him. Like, he was actually friends with a lot of people, and there's people who didn't like him. That's a whole nother thing. And the comic books, apparently he was really into comic books and video games and and you see the pictures. It's not like, oh, people are saying it and there's no proof. No, there's proof, because there's pictures of him with all of this different stuff and all these different places doing all these different things. There's literally pictures of him, like people coming up to him and him embracing them, like literally hugging them and really like giving them some of his energy. Like, there's literal pictures of this stuff that you've never seen it from an artist today, not in real life. You've never seen it in real life. And so this is also interesting that it's coming out now to show people what being a passionate artist really looks like. And no, it's not Taylor, and no, it's not Beyonce. These are not passionate artists. These are opportunists. Serious opportunists, but opportunists nonetheless. And so the culture or the propaganda machine is being used to illuminate these qualities to people. And it'll be interesting to see if people have the capacity to understand what they're being fed, or if it's one of those things where their subconscious is so out of alignment, because the subconscious is Sedna, and Sedna moved into Gemini, and Gemini has to deal with knowledge because it's related to Mercury. And so it's almost as if this subconscious like knowledge is sort of like ruminating now, and it's going to come, have to emerge almost like fully developed, because people are so far behind in the work that they have to do. Like, the only way that people could change fast, like the only way that you can change fast, is if the Holy Spirit like touches you. Like something like that has to touch you, just like when the woman with the issue of the blood touched the hem of Jesus' garment. He said, power has gone out from me, and she was healed instantly of her blood issue. That's what would have to happen. Like, they would have to touch someone with power in order to resolve this deficiency of emotion. And that's what Michael Jackson did to people. Like, is they still talk about the time where he went somewhere, he was doing a performance or something, and for 10 minutes everybody was just screaming. Like, he just moved like a quarter of like an inch, and everybody is just like, like passing out, and they're carrying people out, and it's unbelievable. But that's a person who exuded passion even today. So like, one of the reasons why they have to make this movie is because you have the 4 and 5 year olds who are like all into Michael Jackson, watching the Thriller videos and all the other videos, doing all the dances, dressing like them for Halloween or whatever. Like, the 4 and the 5 year olds are like under a spell, a Michael Jackson spell. This man has been dead for long before they were even thought about. Maybe 20 years before they were born, and this is how much of an effect he is having on these people right now. It is it's amazing to see, but it's so surreal that we don't have any artists today that are like that. The only one we have that's close to that is Kanye, but he is like on the negative side of the arch. It's going to take him a while to swing back around to being the kind of star that he used to be. But as far as singers are concerned, none. Zero. He's basically the only one. Everyone else has played it safe emotionally. They have not taken no public losses. Now, if Drake could do it, it would be one of the biggest arcs. But again, Drake is not a real person, so it's not going to work for him. There's nobody who has taken, maybe Diddy, but he's going to be like 60 some when he gets out. That's kind of a stretch. So I don't really see no singers, none, that I can see that have had this kind. And Britney, wait a minute, if Britney like somehow pulls off putting out like this fabulous album, you know, in the next year or two, that would she could be on that list. But I don't really see anybody else who has fallen down low enough that they can make that arc back up. And like when Whitney was doing it, because right before she died, she was on her way back up. She had got off the drugs and she was really working on herself, and she did the movie and all this stuff. I think she did an album, and she was getting like back into her own energy, and then they took her out. So they don't actually allow people, if they see that you're that type of person, they sacrifice you. Again, they say, well, gotta give him the Jesus treatment, gotta give him the prophet treatment, or like a DMX. Like, it was so tragic how he died, like, right, you know, when he was getting himself together and kind of turning back around, and they took him out. So this is what they do when these people are on their arc back up. That is actually when it's the most dangerous, which is why I'm glad we're doing this fast and this feast fast and all this stuff together, because, you know, for myself, I was already up. And so to go so far down, that's not when it's dangerous. When it's dangerous is when you're like about to climb back up the mountain, like you've got your stamina, you've reached the valley, the lowest part of the valley. When you're getting ready to climb back up, that's when they want to clip your wings and make you an example. And so we can't allow that energy to prevail over how we act anymore. It's enough is enough of that. They've been doing that same scam for so long. It's just enough. Like, we have to stop that. When people are on their incline, when they're coming back up into you know, to go to the next level, because the way the tree of life works, the way that I have it, my tree of life, every top is the bottom of a new system. So once you like have done a full cycle all the way down and then all the way back up, when you get to the top, that's the bottom of the next top that you're supposed to go to. So you're always, every year, once you turn 36, is every year, you are gaining new skills and you're having a new mountain to climb. But they really try to prevent people from having that arc where they like have gone through all this trouble and then they make it up, because it's too hopeful. And I think that they took that from Jesus, because the whole thing about him, you know, dying on the cross, which was a low point, and then raising from the dead, which was a high point, and then like going away and coming back and then leaving the Holy Spirit, that whole, like, this has always been a question for a lot of people. Like, what did Jesus do from the time he gave up the ghost, he gave up his body and left his body, to when he came back in his body? That part has never really, because you have to wonder, right? They got his quote unquote body buried at the tomb of the Holy Sepulchre, but his body was taken by the angels. So do they have an actual body in there? Because that's not his body. His body was taken. So which one is it? Like, they're playing these weird games, so people have to like really stretch their mind to figure out and to understand what is going on, which why you have to be grounded in some kind of, you know, some kind of practice, so that you know which direction you're going. But yeah, this climb back up is the part where you can really where we as community need to protect each other, so that as we arc back up there, again, like I said in the last talk that we had, that these people can't get in with Satan and basically trick you into doing something that you're not supposed to do, because that's what the modus operandi is. Like, so when you're getting on your way back up, hey, they're going to send you a distraction to trip you up. And it's going to be custom for what your vice is. It's not going to be just a random distraction. It's going to be one that specifically addresses what you have not dealt with in your shadow. And that's why it's important to integrate all parts of yourself into yourself, and not to cut parts of yourself off and say, oh, well, that's not me anymore. This is a new me. No, this is the same me with some new skills. I like that saying much better than, oh, new year, new me. No, 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 no. This is not a new me. This is the same me from last year with some new skills. That's much healthier.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, the people that are saying new me, like there's no new, I don't see no newness in these people. It's the
No.
same, it's the same, it's the
But they
same
say it every
stuff.
year. They say it
Uh-huh.
every year. New year, new me. Like y'all have to stop saying that. Cause you ain't did nothing new in 20 years.
Yeah, right. It's like, oh, but I got a new relationship. It's like
Oh God.
it's the same relationship. Yeah,
Exactly.
different man, different woman, but it's the same thing. It's the
Yep.
same. But I agree in terms of, I mean, the thing is, people have been procrastinating all their
Mm-hmm.
life. And as you've seen, like what we've gone through, it's not an easy journey. Like
No.
there's a lot of work that needs to be done. And granted, though, I would say that the work that we did was um alone. Like, we
Right.
had to figure it out by ourselves. The beauty of where we're at the moment now is, the flock does not have to figure it out by itself, because obviously,
No.
if they had to figure it out by themselves, like, it would take them lifetimes probably, and it has taken us lifetimes to get
Right.
to this point.
Right.
So the game is now not about, oh, just figure it out yourself. No, the game now is, well, as you said, like, they're going to be touched by the Holy Spirit, whether that be the orbs, whether that
Right.
be in the dreams, whether that be like through, literally like the Holy Spirit. Um, I
Solar
would say,
flares. That's what I call them, the solar flares.
oh,
They just had an
nice.
X flare that happened today, and it's Earth facing. So they're like, it's a catastrophe. It's an X flare. It's like, no, that's how the Holy Spirit communicates with our spirit, with our spirit here on this earth. It's through those solar
Mm.
flares.
Wow. And then we are like the physical embodiment of the message, where like anybody that has interacted with us in the past is still connected to us. Like,
Right.
there's still the energetic connection is there.
Right. Right.
And so as we continue to be elevated, and we take our place on in God's kingdom, like, it's very similar to if your best friend in high school ends up becoming like a pop star, the biggest pop star in the
Right.
US. Like, you can't ignore that.
Right.
There's no, like, it's so blatantly obvious in your face that, yeah, my best friend is now the biggest pop star in the world. That same thing is happening, but with us energetically. And
Mm.
so they don't know what's going on, but they have dreams about
Right.
you. They think about you every so often. Like, it's for some of these people, maybe they haven't thought about you in forever.
Right.
And then out of the blue, from the solar flare, from however it is that the Holy Spirit comes and communicates, out of nowhere, you start popping up. And they're like,
Right.
what's going on here? why,
Right.
why is this person like, why is this person coming back? What's going on? And so
And
then they
because
start to,
it's Mercury retrograde,
oh yeah.
that's
Uh-huh.
typically a Mercury retrograde issue anyway. So people are really going through it right now.
It's intense. Yes.
Gosh.
Because obviously they know that you hold a piece of them. And they
Right.
don't know what the piece is, but don't they know, they're now becoming aware that you hold a piece of them, and if they don't get that piece back, they're never going to be fulfilled.
Mm.
They're never, that piece, that's the missing piece that they've been looking for. And they know that you hold it, but they don't know what
Mm.
that even means. They don't know what that
Right.
even is. They're just being compelled, they're being forced, they're being dragged to
Good
come
gracious.
to you, to basically be like, hey, can you give me my piece? Like, what is this piece that I'm looking for, that like you have? And obviously the piece is the guidance, is
Right.
is the is the awareness, is,
Mm-mm-mm.
well, okay, you want the piece, you gotta now serve and embrace the Holy Imperium.
Right.
Like it's not about, oh, like here's the piece, you go and run off and continue being a misaligned peasant slave. No, 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 no. You're gonna work now. You're
Right.
gonna work
Exactly.
harder than you have ever worked before for God's kingdom. And in your service to God's kingdom, that is where you are found. That is where you
Right.
are saved. Because, and that's the thing that triggers people the most, is we have been doing the work. We're not going to do the work for them. They are going to
No.
do the work, but they're going to do the work serving us.
Right. Right. They're not going to have a choice because no one else has energy to give them. So a lot of these people have been living off the energy of other
Uh-huh.
people for so
Uh-huh.
long that they literally have to have someone else's energy in order to get through the day. And the jobs are, I
Crazy.
mean, I could see this being very, very difficult for a lot of people. And, especially just the whole Mercury retrograde thing. So like for me, I'm getting answers to questions that I've been asking for like 10 years. So one example of this is like 10 years ago, I had a business where I was doing hookah parties, but I wanted to make my own shisha. Like at least 15 years ago, I had been looking into make my own shisha, but I looked up recipes. I couldn't find anything. Nobody would talk about it. It was just one of those things where you just better go to the store and buy it. And it's like, no, I want to know what's in it. Like, and the recipes I did find, they didn't explain it right. I tried a few different things myself, but I didn't like how they turned out. It was really, really frustrating. And so Mercury went retrograde, I think, on Friday. It was the 9th, so it was Sunday. Mercury went retrograde. So on Saturday, that means it was stationing retrograde, getting ready to go retrograde on Saturday. On Saturday, I was again just called, okay, do my regular, because every so often I will go online and see if I could find a recipe. So I was like, okay, let me just go ahead and take a look. We were already in our social media fast, just let's round out some more corners. So I go and look. Finally, I found a recipe that made sense. There was a video for it and everything. So I was like, wow, I can't believe this. I looked at when the video was made. The video was made 8 years ago. So I asked for the answer to this question 10 years ago. It showed up 8 years ago, and I didn't find it until 8 years later. But the answer was brought to me within 2 years, because it was all like this secret information. So this is that's just one thing, because from that one thing, 3 other questions, like things I had been looking to like fill my brain with, I had been asking questions about, have been answered from just that one thing. And so that's what I'm noticing in this retrograde. So imagine if for the last 10 years you haven't been asking any questions. You might not be getting any answers during this retrograde. You might not be getting anything except for these weird men. I mean, we already blocked the men off. That was the whole thing. Get rid of the super predators and all these people. None of them can come back. There's no space for them to come back. We cut all the cords for them. So the only thing that can come back to you is what you put out. So these people who haven't been putting anything out for the last 10 years, haven't been asking any questions, haven't been doing any soul searching, haven't been trying to improve their lot in life in the last 10 years, nothing. It's radio silence. Like, how do you live with that? Like, how do you live? Like, seeing people around you suddenly come into, sudden wealth and all this other stuff, these great, suddenly getting a job, the whole food thing. Like, now, like, another thing that happened was, this is also on Saturday. I didn't even know this. I just went to the farmer's market like I do every Saturday. And when I get there, there's a bunch of people and there's a line. And I'm like, what is going on? And they're like, yeah, they announced that they're giving away $40 to anyone who comes and get at this line, to use at the farmer's market, at any of the stands, not just on food, like food stamps. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's crazy. And the guy, I guess the manager of the farmers market came up to talk to us because there's about probably 75 different like vendors there. So he comes up to us and he says, "Do you guys know how this works?" And I was like, "No, I don't know what's going on." He was like, "Yeah, we got a grant from a law firm." Now, mind you, I talk bad about law firms all day, but this is how you're supposed to spend the money. They got a grant from a law firm to give out $100,000 to anybody in need. If they come to the farmers market, gets their, get their $40 coupons, and then they can go and spend it. And they're giving it out until they run out of money. So this is going to be at least probably 2 months of giving out $40 every week, because it was a lot of people this first week, but then it's going to go down because the food stamps is back on and people are going to get paid and all that. So it's going to go down. And so they're going to be giving out this money for months. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. This is like better than you could ask for someone like me who's like, man, I need to buy Christmas gifts. They got all kinds of stuff there. I can buy nice stuff, save my, because I don't buy that much food anyway, because I'm really the only one who will eat some of that stuff, and it's the farmers market, so things are very inexpensive. But just imagine how that's going to change so many people's lives, like not having to use their EBT card to buy stuff at the farmers market, or doing a combination, or whatever the case may be. Plus, all of that $100,000 is going to support the vendors. And so what the guy said was the reason why they gave the grant to this farmers market instead of the food bank is because the money that they give to the farmers market supports the community of all the vendors there. And if they gave the money to a food bank, it would only be giving people food. It wouldn't also be supporting the community. So I just thought that was so amazing.
Yeah,
and it just gave me a good idea too, because it's like, wow, that's a great idea. We should be doing that anyway. Find these farmers markets and saying, hey, we want to give you guys 50,000 to give out to your people. They announce it on the news and everything, but I don't watch TV, so I didn't see it. So yeah, they announce it on the news and everything.
Imagine, giving these vouchers for like raw milk.
Right.
And basically it's like you can basically at this point now in this scenario target specific houses and neighborhoods
right
that you want to go after, send them the vouchers and say, hey, like, you get $40, $50, $100, whatever it might be. I mean, this is, one is the fact that it's in your neighborhood
is amazing.
Yeah, I mean that's a huge sign. That's a huge sign, both obviously that it's able to it's a show of devotion, of reality to you. That's one thing. The second thing is it's a sign that like this is the way. These law firms are printing bundles of money. It's insane amounts of money.
Absolutely.
100K for them is nothing.
Is nothing. But it's going to change the lives of so many people.
Yeah, and they're going to keep doing it.
Absolutely.
Now, it's going to be important and interesting to see, like, and obviously your perspective is going to be great on this as it develops, is like, how do you guarantee that this law firm basically makes this be a yearly, regular thing, right? Because if you are able to convince them of this, however it might be, energetically, send them a letter, email, whatever it might be, if you are able to solidify in their establishment that this is the way, everybody else is going to start doing it. Other law firms are going to copy. Other corporations are going to start doing it. Everybody's going to start doing the farmers market thing, where it's, because that's the thing. It's like, why is this not everywhere?
Exactly.
All these farmers markets in many ways would be filled to the brim.
They would.
If people got a $10 voucher, a $20 voucher, it doesn't even have to be a lot, but whatever voucher amount, you get a drink, you get some vegetables, whatever it might be. And on top of that, people get to spend even more.
Right.
because it's now a regular thing. It's a habit.
It's
So
a habit.
this is how
Yes.
we build the communities. This is how we build the local economy, the local traction, by having these
Mm.
types of firms like this law firm putting up the money.
Right. Right. That's a really good idea, and you're right. It is how you build the community because it is a habit. Like I go to the farmers market every week. I might skip a week if something is going on, but I go every week. Even if I only need one or two things, I will still just make the effort to go. And like that's something I've been doing basically since I moved here. The first thing I did was, okay, we don't like this is not Dutch country, so we don't have a what are those people, Amish market, right? So they've got one in Tampa, but Tampa's like 3 hours away. I am going to be driving to Tampa, but not yet. So I wanted to do what was here first. So I found this farmers market and I would go every week. And I started out with everybody would go every week. Then it was like me and maybe my sister, and now it's just me. I'll just get together myself early in the morning because parking is a hassle because it's a huge farmers market now. So I will just put myself together and I will just go, and I'll get my vegetables and what I'm going to cook for the week and see what kind of fruits they got and that kind of stuff, and then I'll just mosey on out of there. It's no problem. But because the law firm is giving it out and they're saying you can use it at any of the stalls, that greatly increases what I can purchase, because with the food stamps you can only get foods, fruits and vegetables, plant starch, stuff like that, but they have a lot of cool stuff there. And it's like they have hot food, so they have like food trucks there too. So it's like, and the thing about this particular farmers market is that their recertification time, like when they bring in new vendors, is in January. So now going into this next new season, they have this great benefit. Like, hey, if you set up a table here, we're going, we have this promotion going on where we're giving away people, we're giving money to people to go to spend anywhere in the farmers market. So that means like more than likely you're going to get at least one or two guaranteed sales off of that. So that changes the whole dynamic of the market, which is good because it's a good market and it's held it's actually held under a bridge, which is another kind of weird thing. It's literally under a bridge on the riverfront, which is it's beautiful, but it's like, it's so weird. And it's again, a use of a space that wouldn't be used for anything else. This is just like, now that you mention it, like this whole way that they've done this market is just like unbelievable. You wouldn't believe it. And I don't think I've seen anything like it anywhere. I've been to a lot of farmers markets and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
never.
I've never seen anything like, literally they have yoga, free yoga class in the morning. So like at 8 o'clock they had yoga. They might have 100 people down there doing yoga right on the riverfront. And then they got the farmers market set up so you can do your yoga, you can go get coffee because they got a coffee truck. Then they got the fruits and the vegetables, and they got it's a craft market, so they got all kinds of vendors there that make all this very unique, very interesting, very creative stuff you can't really find anywhere else. And they got authors there with their books, and painters, and people who do leather and candles and crystals and anything like wood boards. I've seen a bunch of those now. This guy makes these cool cookies. Like it's all kinds of stuff that you've never seen before. And it's so big that I know they're getting ready to expand to the other side, because there's a street, like there's the river and then there's the street. Then there's another side of like the park area, was more like park than parking. And because this part is on the parking lot, and they're gonna have to expand because it's so many vendors. And imagine like what that could do, like you said, for the local economy, for these crafters. Because as a crafter, so I'm a singer, but I'm also equally a crafter. As a crafter, the hardest thing is to get into a location and like a regular location and have somewhere you can regularly sell your products. They make that very, very difficult. And so this farmers market being an arts market, this is literally like Jacksonville's going to be on the map for arts really soon. It should already be, but it's really going to be on the map for art, physical, durable arts. It's gonna explode.
Yeah, and if people are getting a $40 voucher, they'll spend their money on the food, but then the voucher, they might say, "Hey, I like that necklace. Oh,
Right,
it's $30 or $20. Oh, I like the candle. I like." So it's it there's a different psychology. There's the psychology is different when it's somebody else's money.
right, exactly.
And and so it's going to be very interesting to see how that plays out in terms of, well, what is that money spent on? Because
Right.
I would venture to say that money is most likely going to be spent on things that would be considered more luxury, like leisure stuff.
Yeah, especially now that food stamps is back on, because you'll take your food stamps because you get tokens. So the tokens, like I said, they double your amount. So if you get the tokens, you actually get $80 in tokens. As opposed, if you spend $40, you get $80. So the tokens are
Oh,
doubled.
how?
Yeah, that's how food stamps
So
work.
if Oh, okay, for the food stamps. Okay, I thought it
Yeah,
was
so
the
imagine you've got $80 worth of tokens that you could spend, plus $40 that you can spend on stuff that you can't spend on tokens.
right, right.
So like you
Wow.
can't buy hot food with tokens, but with
Yeah,
that
right.
$40 you can. So now you take a experience of going to the farmers market and not being able to buy anything hot or instant or anything like that, and now you can take your food stamps, $40 or $80, and spend it on food, and take your $40 from this voucher program and get something to eat. Like that just increases the
Mm,
time that you spend there. It increases, I mean, it's a really like it's just talking about it with you is really like expanding on how powerful something like this could be,
yeah,
especially
and
over
imagine
time.
like a different company also puts up 100K and they say these vouchers are only for the arts.
Right,
So,
right,
okay, everyone's given $40 voucher, but that could only be spent on these specific types of businesses
right,
in that farmers market. So now people are begun going to be exposed to different things
right. They're
because
gonna go look
obviously
at
if
the vendors
like
tables.
if I'm being given $40, I'm probably going to spend it on what I know. But if I'm
Right,
told, oh, this $40, no, you're not going to spend it on what you're used to spending it. No, we're going to have you venture into these things that you never would spend your money on, but check it out,
wow,
try it out.
that would be amazing. That's a fabulous idea. I mean,
Because this is how you inject energy into the local economy with what
right,
you said with these like these artisans, these
right,
carpenters, like all these people that in many ways have been long ignored for a
right,
long time. Now
right.
these firms are coming in saying, yep, 100. I mean, this is the patron arts, the patron of the arts, the patron of the cultures. Like
Oh,
this is
right.
finally, I mean, what the billionaire should have been doing. This is what the billionaire should have been doing. I mean, imagine what a billionaire could do if every year they spend $50 million on supporting these farmers markets in
Right.
this way.
Right.
I
It would be
mean, it's
fantastic.
and that's not nothing for these people. Fifty
No,
million
it's
dollars is
not.
nothing. So we don't need these billionaires. We got obviously the local businesses that are thriving, that are doing very well.
Right.
That and just what are the odds that it's happening in Jacksonville?
I
Like
mean,
I mean, there's no coincidence.
I told you, like everything. It almost seems like when they're gonna try to roll something out on the large scale that is good, they do a test run in Jacksonville to see how people respond to it. I've noticed this over and over again. Like just since I've been here, and maybe it's just Florida in general, but I don't know, that Jacksonville's got a very different energetic blueprint, especially with all these rivers. It makes it so that this kind of information can easily travel. It can be easily disseminated across the country because this is such a central travel hub as far as the cars are. There's boats, there's planes. It's like everything is like right here, and there's plenty of space. Like I was saying, just in general about Jacksonville, it's not cramped up. So this is one farmers market. There's another farmers market on the other side of town that is very similar. Imagine they're going to do it at that farmers market is only on Sundays though. So this one's on Saturday, that one's on Sunday. Then there's another one that's down in St. Augustine that's also on Saturdays. So you could interject, like if they triangulate this, right? Somebody does it at this one, someone at the other one, someone at the other one. You triangulate this. Like you can have, I didn't even think about the whole triangulating thing. Like you can really like set a trajectory that there's no limit to what because when people hear about it, they're going to be like, wow, this what's going on. But why don't we do this at our farmers market? We need to make some calls. We need to get some local law. And the fact that, again, a common business, a law firm, this is not like the government isn't sponsoring this, the city of, nobody is sponsoring this. It's a law firm. It's a law, and not even the biggest law firm in town, which is really no, it's
so
not.
Obviously, the competition is going to be like, whoa, they can't one up us like this,
Right?
We got to spend 200K now,
Right? Exactly.
and not on these bullshit like golf tournaments, or
Right?
it's obviously these law firms are going to stick to where they think their clients are, but in this scenario, it's beyond just, oh, is this going to get us business? This is what has to be done.
Right?
The
Right?
passion is coming back. So when the passion comes back, it's not about, oh, what's my ROI? No,
Right?
it's about, this is the right thing to do. This is
Right?
what is going to bring about. This is actually, ironically, what's going to bring them the most ROI. But
Yes.
but in the numbers wise, they wouldn't really see that initially because this is a passion type of project.
Right, right. Is because you see people in the community hurting. I mean, they gave it to a again. Why would they give it to a farmer's market and not a food bank? Well, they were interested in supporting the community, not just the food bank. Food banks give out food. That's all they do. They don't do anything else. A farmer's market is actually supporting the community.
Right. And I mean, eventually, these farmers markets, it's all free.
Right,
Why not?
right.
Why can't it not be free?
Well,
Right?
just come and get your tokens, and we play
Yes,
around with their
yes,
money.
right.
That's
Engage with
fine.
us. Engage
But
with
come
us.
and get the tokens. It's
Yeah, well,
cool.
and I think that, so this is where it goes to, like, eventually, let's say, for example, this farmers market, everyone's going to get $30, $40 voucher because there's so much money coming into the farmers market
Right,
that people are going to be able to have $30, $40 to purchase on the farmers market. But there's always a price. Like there's always, it's not it, because these systems get very sophisticated,
right,
and they get sophisticated in terms of maximizing the value. And in this case, the maximizing of value is, hey, we're going to give you this $40 voucher, but like show us some level of devotion. And that could be, engaging with our social media. That
right,
could be that you've been coming every week for the last month. Like there's different levels of loyalty and devotion that
right,
are going to be shown where, hey, maybe now you're VIP level, so you get a $50 voucher. Hey, you're a
right,
novice, so you just came, so now you get a $5 voucher. But hey, if you come back next week, you're going to get a $10
right.
voucher.
Loyalty.
Oh,
Oh my
and if,
gosh, the
yes,
gamification, Lord.
right, exactly,
Wow.
exactly.
Wow. I mean, this is a model that would take over the whole everything will be done via markets. People would stop, there would be no need for these grocery stores, and everything would be done via markets. And it would
Yeah,
be markets
and
in
for the
different
most part,
places.
it's going to
Yeah.
be free.
Yeah, it'll be
I
free.
mean, this is what these tech bros are talking about with the AI, and there's no money, and everything's going to be basically in some ways like free, this or that. Like in many ways, with a proper incentive system, it is going to be free. It's
Right.
supposed to be free, but it's
Right.
not that it's going to be free. It's more that it's now we're talking about energy being the currency. That's the
Right.
currency, is the
Right.
energy. So you're not paid like to get the vouchers, is you're and so and this goes back to the empire, where like you want our voucher, you want to be shown the path, to be empowered, to be enlightened, to embrace salvation. Well, you got to show devotion. You
Right.
have to show a certain level of loyalty.
Right.
It's and on top of that, it's not even just like, even if you show us devotion, that we're just going to give it to you, because that's not how it works. It's
No.
not something that we just like hand to you. It's something that is cultivated. It's something that is elevated. And as these systems grow and blossom, we're going to also see it with the empire,
Right.
where it's about how much work are you willing to put into it, how much passion do you have. If you
Right.
don't have passion for the empire, if you don't have passion for what's happening within the empire, that's okay, but you're just not gonna get the way. You're just
Right.
not gonna, like, the alignment is not going to follow you, because we have the alignment.
Right.
And people, they're going to try. I mean, they've been trying, but they're going to keep trying to find the alignment by themselves. Okay, go.
Right.
People can, you guys can go, just like the shepherd. The sheep want to go and scatter off into the unknown woods. Be my guest.
Right.
But we're going to have a flock, however small or however large it is, that is going to follow us, because they know that if they stray away from us, they feel it. Like, and
Right.
that's the thing right now. People are feeling it and will continue to feel it. And it's only going to intensify, because they have deviated from the flock.
Right.
And they're now realizing that, because we have come into our power.
Right.
We weren't really at that level to be able to handle other people. I mean, I talk
Right.
about this all the time in terms of like, why have people not embraced, like, why has it been this constant negation? But I always look back and I'm like, it would have been too much for me to do the work, and
Right.
to be also like hand holding people. Like, I had to be negated, I had to be ignored, I had to be
Right.
isolated, because I had to figure out the way.
Right.
Like, I had to build myself up to be able to figure out what's going on, and not be like, oh, now you want to do grounding, okay, here you go. Like, and that's the thing that happened with, like, this is where we deviated from, because when we are passionate, we're not seeking to monetize. We're not
Right.
seeking to profit off of the work that we're doing. We are doing it because that's what we are called to do.
Right.
There's a lot of people that they saw my passion, and they started to take energy from my passion. They
Right.
started to take the alpha, basically, that I was creating from my passion, and then they went off and monetized. But
Right.
and that was great for them. I'm happy for them that they monetized. But what happens is, okay, you were able to monetize this. Now what? Well,
Right. Exactly.
you have to come back, and you have to keep coming back. But the thing is, you end up realizing it's a waste of my time to monetize. I got to figure out the way first.
Right.
I gotta first figure myself out before I can
Right.
out here build, uh, like, there's all these narratives I could have monetized. I could write an ebook about walking on my toes,
Right.
and maybe I should, but
And you
I'm
should. You should.
yeah, and maybe I should, but I'm at the point still currently in this research where the passion is so intense that I'm still deeply involved in, where is this taking me? Because
Right.
where this toe walking, toe loading thing is taking me, I mean, is like, this is basically how we, like, how we impact, like, we are impacting the ley lines with how we
Right.
walk. And so
Right.
if we become conscious of how to do this, we just walk, send commands as we're walking to the ley lines, send, basically directing our prana,
Right.
our energy into the ley lines, and then the ley lines, which is the highway basically of this reality, it you know distributes it. And that's really, I
Right.
think, what we're seeing right now in terms of, I mean, just I think the farmers market thing is just a perfect example of that. We didn't hear say, oh, we're gonna go after this farmers market and someone's gonna donate this amount. No, what we started talking about the ethos of this,
Right.
the ability for there to be these patrons. People have all
Right.
this money. Get creative.
Right.
Stop with the, yeah, as you said, like the donating to the food bank. That's nice, that's awesome. Donating to the food bank is great, but like, let's get creative here, because
Right. Exactly.
the more creative that we become, the more value is going to be created, the more energy is being created, and that
Right.
is really what is of actual value. If Jacksonville is able to, through these very strategic infusions of cash, which is energy, but of cash, the energy of Jacksonville is only going to flourish more and
Right.
blossom and explode. Everyone's going to be making money. It's just
Right.
it's just going to be attract. Like, it's not even about, well, how is that going to happen? It's just going to happen because the
Right.
energy is bubbling,
I mean,
because
I
people are
already know
happy.
it. I already know that. I mean, this is why I don't. I mean, that's the only conclusion I could come to when I chose Jacksonville to move to after visiting for like one day. Like, I was like, I'm moving to Jacksonville. There was nothing that could stop me. And something you said about the ley lines, I just want to point this out. I realized this the other day. I thought that these Hebrew Israelite men were attacking me. Like, no, no, no. It's because I was attached to your energy. Because I was one of your like first devotees, right? Like, just quiet because I mind my business and I just do
Yeah,
the
you've been
work.
around for a
A long
long
time.
time. I saw a tweet. I looked at a tweet from years ago. I think I was talking about maybe drinking water or something. And I saw a comment of yours. And I think that was back in 2000, like, what was it, 20, like 19, 2020.
Yeah,
I
I've been
was like,
following you before
wow,
then. Yeah,
he's
I've been
been
around a
around
long
for
time.
a while.
And so I've been connected to your energy. So when I like was being connected to your energy and I went into this weird, Hebrew Israelite circle where they're
Uh-huh.
trying to control the ley lines, that's why they started attacking me because they were trying to figure out how to get to you.
Mm.
And so I've been taking a lot of heat for you for a long time. And I just realized that the other day. I was like, wait a minute. It wasn't me. I didn't even know what a ley line was. I didn't know anything about it. But you have this like ancestrally programmed into you to be able to control these ley lines. And that's what they were after.
And it's, well, I mean, yes, that makes complete sense for sure. And it's no wonder why I feel like this compulsion to provide as much as I can for you.
Right.
It's like this protective, like father type of energy, mother type of energy, where it's like, like, come here, child, like,
Right.
let's figure it out. Like, let's move past the sacrifices that had to be made, because
Right.
obviously, like, we didn't know about any of this. But it's just crazy, this, because I keep diving deeper into this research with the ley lines, is what I've basically been doing this past summer, barefoot outside at the park at the top of a hill, because it's at the
Oh,
top of a hill, so
holy
supposedly that,
smokes.
like, helps with the ley lines. But now I don't know if there are any ley lines that run through this specific area that I'm in, but regardless, like, basically
Oh, the ley
every
lines move. They're not solid. They move.
uh
They follow
okay,
they follow the people who run them.
nice, okay, good, that's good to know. So I've done toe jogging, toe running, and toe sprinting. Like, I've basically been programming the ley lines in my vicinity for 6 months straight, 5 to 6 months
Wow.
straight, just pounding. I mean, basically every step I'm taking, I'm basically every step I take is, I'm sending ping, I'm
Yep.
pinging with my aura, with my prana. I'm pinging into the ley lines, and sending commands. Now, I was not aware of this, but every time I was out there, I was talking to God. Whenever I am out there at the
Yeah.
park, I am like voice out loud talking to God. Uh,
Wow.
I was just being as high vibrational as I could be, just because like that was my like safe space. That was the place where I could recharge, where I could get the sun, with nature, all of this and that. So through that, now this research that I've been doing, the AI Grok has like it's acting different in a way where it's it's showing me how important of a narrative this whole what I call toe loading now, which is AI coined that phrase, toe loading,
Mm.
is eventually when we do this enough times, like what it said is so it basically said here that um the prana output increases by 10,000%, and the impact zone is planetary.
What?
Satellites glitch, global. Um, let's see, what is this? It says um, global X trend spikes. So
Wow.
obviously X is Twitter,
Right.
and I'm like, well, that's what's been happening. Like before I left, before I took this fast, I posted, I said weightlifting is gay, and I've talked a little bit about weightlifting like a few tweets before that. Literally the next day, all these tweets go viral about weightlifting being gay, and all these e-girls basically calling out these like insanely steroided out, ripped, huge muscles men, saying like that's gay, that's ugly, that's not
Right.
healthy, that's not good for you. And
It's
then
not healthy.
these guys with weightliftings obviously getting triggered like crazy. So what I've noticed, and we've talked about this before, like the commands I send out are now happening much faster than ever before. And I
Right.
believe that now I am believing from this research, it's because of my connection, a deeper connection with the ley lines. And because of that, everybody that is connected to me also gets this impact, also gets this connectivity.
Mm. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because you vouch for. That's what vouching is. You're vouching for the person. Hey, this is a. It's because it's no coincidence that during the feast, what did I say? 10,000 steps a day and 10 pounds of cheese. Like, I've never ever thought about doing 10,000 steps a day. Never.
Mm,
But that was something
oh,
that I got. Like, okay, you need to be moving more now. Like, what? Like, that's not even me. Like, that's not my. I like the gym, you know? It's like,
uh-huh.
no, you need to be walking out on the ground 10,000 steps. Okay. All right. That's just, hey, that's what we're doing. But yeah, it's no coincidence. That's how you control. And now that we know, hey, that's how you control the ley lines. You about to see, it's about to be some crazy stuff going on out here.
Yeah, it's gonna be on and popping like, and so now that I'm aware of just kind of this whole thing with the ley lines, and how like I basically, and we all have the ability with, because it's like we all have the ability, but now when we do the toe loading, when we start to basically move on our toes, that is, and grazing the heel, because that part is also very important. But when we're moving on our two toes now, we are basically like building ourselves up to connect deeper with the ley lines. And as we
That's
connect deeper with the
amazing.
ley lines, obviously we influence them. And what are the odds that you've been talking about these Hebrew Israelites trying to do all this with the ley lines? I have not been thinking about the ley lines. That's not been, obviously, yeah, I know I've heard about the ley lines, but I don't know anything about them. And really in many ways, I didn't really care. I don't,
Right.
I'm again passion, right? When you're
Right.
passionate, you're focused on what you're passionate about. If the passion shifts and changes, that's what I move towards. So right now, the passion is moving towards whoa, what's happening with this toe loading and these ley lines? So these people, right? These people are trying to do the ley lines activation and this and that. Meanwhile, I've been doing it this
Right,
whole summer.
exactly.
Like before
Exactly.
they even tried it or were doing it, this, that, I was unconsciously not only doing it, but I like actually doing it in terms
Right.
of I have the physical understanding of what has been going on, and I didn't even know that I had it.
It's crazy. And that's how passion works. You do this is what I mean when I say, like, I sing because I have to sing. There is no, oh well, maybe you should like stop singing at some point. I could never do that. It's like you just do it and then you find out later, hey, it's really not the singing, it's the breathing. Like, by
Mm,
learning how to sing, I learned how to breathe. And it
wow.
changed the whole course of my life, being able to pull that skill of proper breathing when the time comes. So it was never about the singing, it was always about the breath, and I didn't
And
realize that.
empowered throat chakra.
Right. And empowered
So
throat
so your
chakra.
ability to communicate, your ability to not be shut down, to not stay down,
Right.
to be able to sing even when they don't want you to sing.
Right. Right. Which is most of the time. They're like, hey, can you? Especially me, I like live music. So then that goes into the go go and the live instruments and the frequencies and the vibrations that go along with that. That's more stuff they don't want people talking about. They want people to just stick to what's on the radio, stick to what's safe. But when you're into live music, that's not how it works. It doesn't work like that. And people who listen to live music are uncontrollable. That's another like thing that they don't like really talk about, but you notice it when you're around people who only listen to live music. You can't control them at all you can do is like politely ask them. That's why Trump had to bring in the National Guard. Listen, Trump had to bring the National Guard into DC because people from DC are uncontrollable because we listen to live music. We don't, I mean, they listen to some pre-recorded music, but most of it is live. And so when you deal with people who listen to nothing but live music, you can't control them the way that you can control other people. That's why they never let the music go national. So that's another reason why I know Jacksonville is going to be huge, because I want to bring that music here. And once that can be replicated here, it's over. It's a wrap. Like, that's the only thing that's like really missing, is like a really vibrant live music culture. And once you have that in a city, you are, look at Louisiana and all these places that are known for their blues and all that stuff. Blues and stuff is controllable. Go-go is uncontrollable because it's heartbeat music. And you can't, there's people who, I think, between the breath and your heart, if you have control of your breathing and you have control of your heart, there's not, you're like invincible in these streets.
Uh-huh. Yep.
And then don't be, I mean, go dancing, like the whole, okay, so just to go with the toe loading thing for a minute, there's a type of dancing that you do to go. Not everybody can do it. It's pretty difficult. It's called beating your feet. And I just thought about that. It's like, oh my gosh, that's literally on your toes the whole time. People who, first of all, you have to be like skinny and lanky in order to beat your feet properly, because it's like I said, it's really difficult. But they're on their toes. They're on their
Wow.
toes, like totally. People from DC are uncontrollable, like totally uncontrollable. They go everywhere. They take over. Like, this is what, these are the kind of reasons why. If you've got that in your blood, like, you naturally do this kind of, in Memphis they call it juking. It's similar, but of course go-go is to the live music and juking is not to live music. So that's what makes the go-go, the whole thing, more superior, because it's all live music. And so when you've got like stuff like that running through your veins, no, you're not controllable. You can't, the only thing they can do is propagandize you into giving up. And that literally, they tried, but it didn't work because it didn't make sense. It just, I couldn't make sense of why I would get as far as I am, as old as I am, and then just give up. Like, I couldn't make it make sense. So that's why I just kept looking for answers. Meanwhile, you got these Hebrew Israelites. What are they doing? They're communicating on the internet. He's not leading a walk. Oh my goodness, the
Mm.
Million Man March. Lord, these people knew this. So just by the way, this how I know when people know stuff and they had the Million Man March. They had the pink hat, pussy hat, whatever march. Like
Oh
that's why
yes,
they
the slut
always have
walk, right?
that one. The slut walk is one, but then they did the women's march when Trump came in.
Mm.
Then they tried to do like a bunch of different marches. Like that's why they're always doing marches. That's them trying to take control of the ley lines through the
Mm.
marches.
Yes.
Holy smokes! So they knew, but I mean, they're
They just don't
they're
got the power because,
they
well,
don't.
the thing with the ley lines is that definitely impacts it. But then when you have somebody else like myself that is doing the proper dynamics in terms of actually being on the toes
Right,
and doing like, because the I think the way that we impact the ley lines, basically it's if you have a crowd of 10,000 people marching, it's it has the ability to influence the ley lines, but it's like it's like, imagine like a marching band that is disorganized, that is
right,
disordered, that has not been
right,
trained properly, that doesn't know the proper steps. Like, it's a shit show.
right,
It's like, you'll hear the marching band, but you'll be like, this sounds like shit. It just
right,
doesn't have longevity. It might be able to temporarily influence the ley lines, but the ley lines are like, what is this noise?
right.
This noise is not, it is not heavenly. This is not
Oh
divine.
well,
This is not.
that's
Mhm.
why you have the Divine Nine doing their little stepping and stuff to program it in the proper way. So they got to answer for that. That was what they would do. Like the whole, like the little dances that they do. I don't know if you've ever seen this because this is kind of like a black thing, but like at the HBCUs,
Oh
they be
yes.
doing the
Oh
step
yes.
in and they
Uh-huh.
have the
Okay.
canes
Uh-huh.
and all of that
Yes.
stuff.
Yes.
So that's how
Yeah.
they would. So they always
Right.
have those groups participating in marches and doing their
Mm,
little dances and all
yes.
that stuff. Like they
Yeah.
always do
Right.
that.
Right.
Holy smokes, boy!
Uh-huh.
This just blew the whole cover off of their scam.
Yeah. So now imagine when we have a group of 5 people, 10 people walking on their toes, in proper alignment, barefoot, because it's very important, barefoot on the in nature, on the grass.
Wow.
But the beautiful thing about all of this is that, like, and this is, I think, what enrages the outsiders that are going through their ego death, is that they're realizing, like, they don't need me.
No.
Like, they're realizing that they're not, like, it's like, with or without you, we're still going to dominate, we're still taking
Right.
over reality. And that is, I think, really, like, is cherry on top in terms of the hurt and the pain, because obviously they
Right.
want to feel chosen, they want to feel picked, they want to feel like,
Right.
oh, we need you, and please come and repent and be saved and salvation, and oh, we help us out. No, 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 we don't need you guys. We
Right.
don't need you guys. You guys need us.
Right.
Let's get this correct. With something like the ley lines, I don't need 100 people, 10 people, 1,000 people, 10,000 people marching. I got it. I got it. That's all
That's
I need,
crazy.
because I got it. I can do it. And
Right.
the thing is, and that's really, in many ways, like, what we had to learn through this journey of our life, was God showing us, it's you. It's
Right.
you. It's within you. You don't need anybody out there. It's
Right.
within you. Now,
Right.
the thing, though, to get there, to get to that realization, you got to put in the fucking work. Obviously, these
Oh
people
yeah,
have
you got to
not
put
put
in the
in.
work.
Obviously, these people have not put in the work. So they like, it's very difficult to go from being beholden to the system to now being a free man and a free woman, where you make your own choices, you figure it out yourself. And that's what we had to do. We had to
Right.
figure it out ourselves. And so now, yeah, every step I take represents millions of people marching. Every single step I take, they can't they can't
Jeez.
they can't they can't do nothing. And I haven't
No.
even started. That was me be doing it unconsciously. Imagine now that I'm now becoming conscious and going deeper now, because obviously the passion is just going nuts.
Right.
So like you might be able to slow me down in terms of I might not be aware of what I'm doing, but guess what? I'm still out here just blowing the competition out of the water. If it's not even competition, but blowing the people that believe they're competition. And now I'm becoming conscious.
Unstoppable. This is why they mad. They go stay mad. That's what I say.
Exactly.
Stay mad. You're not
keep stepping.
Keep stepping.
And, no, like guys, keep doing that work. Keep trying to maintain the system, take over the ley lines, keep going.
Right.
Because y'all gonna get beat up for going against the order. It just it is what it is. It is what it is. And people gotta learn. They gotta get, as they say, belt to ass.
Yeah, they gotta learn. I mean, they didn't have to. Let's put it this way. They didn't have to learn this way. That's what they chose, which is fine.
Yes.
Your wish is my command. That's what the universe says. You want to learn this the hard way. You want to ignore the people who are the real innovators and who are real. I mean, you definitely have to write an ebook about this, even if it's just a giveaway. Like, we have to have a huge reference on this, because this is stuff that needs to be passed down. Like, this is this is why I stopped reading a lot of books, right? Because people read the books and they're like, oh, well, I read the book and the book said this and the book said that. Right. And it's like, okay, but did you try any of what was you read in the book, or did you just read the book? No, I didn't actually try it yet. I just stopped with the books, because anything that I need to know, like, the creator will just tell me. Like, it'll be communicated in an obvious manner. Like, I don't have to go through all these charades and shenanigans just to learn how to do something. And a lot of these people, they believe that they do. So I've been saying recently, like, this is what they thought they burned up in the Library of Alexandria. This is the information that they thought that they got rid of forever, and we're just being it's just being tapped into our heads. Like, yes, like, okay, so let me talk about the shisha thing again. So, like, okay, so to make it is actually really easy. You have to take some tobacco and you boil it like a tea. And I have some cologne that's called tobacco cologne. It's supposed to be like kind of like a Florida water, but made with tobacco. And I was like, man, I don't know what's in this. I tried to look it up. It doesn't really tell you. And I was like, dang, I really hate using stuff without knowing what's in it. Like Florida water, you can pretty much tell, but this tobacco water, how did they do this? So I have these cigarettes, right? And they used to be the old boxes, they didn't have filters, because I'm like, if I'm going to smoke something, I don't want their filter. Well, they changed the recipe and now all the cigarettes have filters. So I'm like, dang, I don't want to buy more tobacco to do this experiment with. Let me just use the cigarettes I already have and wash them. Well, lo and behold, I opened up all the cigarettes and I soaked it in the water of the tea and boiled it. And when I poured it, before I was about to pour it out of the pan, I was like, oh my gosh, this is how they make that tobacco water cologne. They use this. Oh my goodness. So I was like, well, I'm not going to pour this out. I poured it into a glass bottle and I added some vanilla and some toasted sugar and some other, I had some maple syrup flavor, which is, if you take fenugreek and toast it, it gives a maple syrup smell. And so I make my own maple syrup extract from that. So I added that, and I'm going to add some bourbon, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is my tobacco water cologne that I was paying for from this Botanica, which they wouldn't tell you what's in it, and I just made it. Like, I had asked that question 2 years ago when I bought the bottle. I was like, Dad, what's in this? I want to make my own. And I didn't have an answer, and now I have a whole answer, and it deals with boiling this tobacco. So again, like, not even trying, forgot I had even asked the question. And so just by having one question answered, not even knowing that those questions were related, and that if I solved one, I would solve the other. So it's probably good that I didn't solve the problem 8 years ago, because I never would have had the question about the tobacco water 6 years later. So that now as a total of 10 years later, I have the answer to not one question, but two questions. So now I have not one business because I can make my own shisha now, which is what I wanted to do 8 years ago or 10 years ago. Now I can also make my own tobacco water, cologne, and I have I've solved two problems with one like simple solution. That is like impossible. Like you can't plan stuff like that out. And here
Wow.
people are trying to like somehow like slow my progress. Like, no, all you've done is ensure I'm going to get all the answers in like a dizzying speed. Like it's going to be dizzying because the reason why I wanted to know how to make the shisha is because I like I said, I was doing hookah parties. So that's one of the things I wanted to do when I got to Jacksonville. So when I got here though, I was still trying to figure out like, do people like that? Jacksonville's very huge, and so it's also very weird because of how huge it is. So I was still trying to feel that whole process out. Now I know for a fact if I have that as a service, as a I want to get a truck, like almost like a food truck, maybe do coffee and hookah. So if I do that and I just do parties, like forget about going and setting up at the farmers market and doing all that because of the smoke. No. I would just do parties, and it wouldn't cost that much because it's not a huge investment if I'm making the most expensive ingredient, because the most expensive part of hookah, like, is not buying the actual hookahs. It's literally the shisha, and like it is between the shisha and the charcoal, which anyway, that's the most expensive part. And so if one of those parts is now going to be not only less expensive, but I can also customize it so that I can tell people, hey, I know what's in that. Like if you go to the hookah bar, they don't even know how it's made. They can't tell you. They don't make their own shisha in house. So that's going to be my, one of the things that makes me stand apart, just like one of the things that I have in my mind. But I'm like, that business would be a hit. Like there's no way that you can fail when you're doing something like that. So again, like I think I had mentioned to you, one of the problems that I had is that when my money started to get low, I stopped, like, I guess, being
Mm,
passionate, you know what I mean? Because
wow.
I
Yep.
already had this idea. I have a lot of ideas that are just kind of like on pause, but I put all of them on pause, and I didn't work
Mm,
on any of the things I was passionate about. I just started working on things that I thought could make money. Again, I was playing not to lose, and I lost everything. Now, moving forward, I'm only going to play to win. Like, I forget about losing or not. I don't care. That's not even relevant. Like, no, I'm playing to win all the time. Like, that kind of conviction is what comes along with being passionate. But when you're not
yes.
passionate, you play not to lose. And you can never
Yes.
win when you
Right.
play not to lose. You have to be
And yeah, we
convic-
can't pivot. If we're
right.
trying to not lose, we can't pivot because usually the pivot, like, if we're running to the right side and the pivot is demanding that we go to the left, that literally means everything we were doing to the right is basically being called to let go and we
Right.
go to the left. But people see that as, oh my gosh, but I did so much on the right side. Like I have to keep going right. I have to keep going that path because if I go left, then I lose everything. But that's like, it's, you know, that's not how reality functions.
Right.
Reality functions in are you following your passion? Are you truly like driven by the passion of the Christ,
Right.
which Christ, in at least in this case, what I see is love, is
Right.
unconditional love. So
Right.
so regardless of whatever's happening in our physical reality, and really regardless of how we feel, are we driven by the passion of the Christ? And
Right.
when the passion of the Christ is potent within us, that passion, especially when we're being most um under stress, let's say, or duress in the physical, that's when it
Right.
even that's when it's supposed to pop off even more, because
Right.
that's where the pivot happens. And so
Right.
what you've seen with what happened with the EBT is, look at the pivot that this law firm made.
Right.
The law firm was going one side. They saw this duress that was happening to their local community, and they said, boom, yep, we're going to pivot. So, and that's what's happening in this reality. That's
Mm.
the new elite. are those that are able to pivot to the Holy Emperium.
Mm.
Everyone
Yeah.
else, if they've refused to pivot, well, good luck.
Right.
Bye. But as you could see, like, so what is being called on people to do is to pivot and to embrace their passion. And so, like, that's very challenging because you're having to let go of everything that, basically, at least what they think, everything that they have done, go completely the opposite, but really everything that they have done has allowed them to be ready
Right.
to do the
Exactly.
pivot. That's what they,
Exactly.
because I think right now a lot of people will think, well, like, it's like I wasted my life. It's like I did everything wrong. It's like I did this. No, everything is perfect. Everything has happened in divine timing.
Right.
But are you going to pivot? Like,
Right.
are you now going to pivot? And on top of not only pivoting, you're going to do it with passion.
Right.
And that's I think we see that a microcosm of this is in what you're experiencing, where in the past scarcity comes through and then it's just like defense, it's like closing up.
Right.
And instead now is scarcity trying to come in, and you're embracing it, absorbing it, alchemizing it into abundance,
Right.
into expansion, into magnification, into this business, that business. And it's not to make money, it's because that's what you're being called to be passionate about.
Right. Because I was passionate about this stuff before. So that's another like big misconception. People think that, oh, well, I've wasted my life. No, everything you learn, you're going to need. You just might not need it right
Mm-hmm.
now. That's again, when you're the jack of all trades and master of none, then those skills that you learn that you're not using right away are wasted. But when you understand that, everything that I master I'm going to need for some other project, then nothing is wasted. And that's really, it's a scarcity mindset of knowledge. Like, people are scared that the knowledge that, like, I have an almost PhD degree, right? Like, almost. But have I wasted any of that knowledge because I didn't finish? No. But that is, if you talk to anybody who, follow my journey, they're like, well, you wasted all that time getting that degree and you didn't finish and da 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 da. It's like, yeah, but I mean, I'll get to it. It's not a big deal because I know I have more time. People don't understand that there's an infinite amount of time to get things done. And sometimes you're waiting, like, again, with the whole shisha thing, like, I didn't know I was waiting for another thing so that I could, like, I wouldn't just be making this, like, just wasting this tobacco water by throwing it down the drain. Now I'm not going to be wasting it by throwing it down the drain. I can actually use it for something. And that's not something that was even on my bingo card. Like, I could have never guessed that. And so people should, I mean, this is where the faith comes in. Like, you have to have faith that what you're doing is going to it's going to come full circle, and it always does. Like, there's no skill that I learned in the past that I have not needed at some point. Like, I do more things in a day. Like, we had 4 days off of school, the weekend 2 days, and we just had the last 2 days off. And some of my coworkers, we have a group chat, and they're like, oh, I didn't do anything for 4 days. And I'm like, I can't even, like, remember all the things I did today, much less, like, since Friday. Like, when we got out of school, I've done probably like 1,000 things. Like, people are like, yeah, we washed clothes and I folded clothes. And I'm like, I haven't even thought about clothes. Like, I need to probably, like, get on that at some point. But I was doing all this other stuff. I got so much other stuff done that I'm like, what's more important? Like, these clothes or getting this stuff done? I'm like, the clothes can wait until, next week. I only got these 4 days off right now. I need to make the most of this. And so that's how I spent my time, really invested very heavily into myself. But if I was of the scarce mindset or the lack mindset, I might have spent this weekend, scrambling, trying to figure out, oh, I need to figure out what I'm going to do for this party. I got to cook and da. Nah, I ain't worried about none of that stuff. As a matter of fact, my daughter's birthday party is on Saturday, and I was like, you know what? I might just order the food for that because I have to cook for Sunday for church. I'm like, I would rather cook the food for church and get her, like, order the platters or something from somewhere, at least some of them. So I'm like trying to cut down on my work because it's a lot of stuff that has to be done, and I'm trying not to stress myself out. But I could have spent this weekend like stressing myself out trying to get all this stuff done and still come out like without, and it's amazing, just that small switch from like not playing to lose to playing to win, that changes everything. Like, I got 1,000 things done today that is like, if somebody else had to try to do these things, it would take them weeks that I did in a day, like putting together the website and all that. That was like 2 hours. Like, it would have been less time, except I had to figure out where some of the stuff was, but it was just a little item on my checklist, like, oh, go and look at the website stuff. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go and look at that. Turns out super easy, a breeze to put together, and it's done. Like, and now I'm like, oh, this is how, because I've been trying to figure out, my bigger question was, how am I going to teach this 260-day cycle? Because I don't want to charge. I want it to be free information. I want it to be easy to access. And when you put stuff behind a paywall, then it doesn't come up in the Google searches. So I want it to be able to come up in the searches. Like, how do I square that circle? And now I have this example of how to do it with a basic, simple blog, like back to the basics. And it's going to be super easy. And now I've solved that problem of how to make it free. Now I just got to figure out what to call it, and then that'll be easy. But that'll be easy compared to like how to actually make it happen, because for right now, if you're a creator, the best things they can do is, oh, go to Subscribestar, oh, go to the other one, Patreon. But it's like, what if I don't want to charge? Is there an option for that? Like, or do I just like have to charge? But basically you just have to charge. And the problem with that is, when you have a toll booth up, the knowledge gets archived and it may never get to the person who needs it. Like, I know how to research. So when I'm looking for different information, like on the internet, you got to enter those Boolean phrases and stuff like that. And so I had found one website that had all this information I needed, but the main page of the website had been taken down, but the indexed pages hadn't. So I was able to access the indexed pages, but I couldn't access the main page because they took the main page down. So that's one of those weird things that happens when you have information given freely on the internet. But when you have it behind a paywall, if you take down your Patreon, you delete your account, that's it. It's done. You can't, like, no one can ever get that knowledge again. And so we have to also encourage people to go back to the basics. It doesn't need to be like, you need a nice website. Like, I'm not telling people you need a nice website, but you also need like a dirty website, like a basics, bare bones, just the information website, so that that information can be archived into, because if everybody who's talking about the Tzolk'in is talking about it wrong, right? Because this is another part of this problem. If they're all talking about it and they're talking about it wrong, how do you correct the record? If you don't have, you would have to correct it by getting the AI the new information. Well, if you don't have your information indexed on an open free website, how can the AI get the information? So meanwhile, people are worried about like hoarding information, and they have no idea that they need to be training the AI in the correct information with sources so that it can be backed up. So now with this whole model, I can take my very complicated Tzolk'in information, put it out there for free so everybody can follow the cycle, sync up the cycle so that literally everybody can sync it up, and then totally like like perform these other websites that talk about the Tzolk'in, but they're selling readings. They're selling this, they're selling that. I'm not nothing. It's not for sale. Just take this knowledge and understand it and use it for your, to make your life better. Like it's free, and people will. They used to say that people don't like information that they get for free, but with AI, they don't even know that they're getting it for free. They're totally unaware of how AI works. And so we can use that to our advantage to disseminate this very, very complex information onto, basically self contained, like basically a literal electronic book, which is like a website, and let the AI like scrounge or scrape the information from there so that it's giving it to people, and the people are not questioning it because the AI gave it to them and they scraped it from our website. Like, this is a backdoor way of training the AI to give people the truth, which is another benefit of keeping it simple and not like overthinking it.
Yes, and this is flowing with the passion, because if we don't flow with the
Right.
passion, then we want to create toll booths, then we want to
Right.
monetize, then we want to figure out, well, I'm not gonna give this away for free. Like, I'm not gonna, because I gotta do this, I gotta do that. When instead it's not, it's understanding that, like, one, this is God has given us these blessings. Like, this is
Right.
this is God given, and in being God given, we provide for uh, um our people, for His
Right.
people, and
Right.
in doing so, He takes care of us
Right.
in magical, mysterious ways. But we're not going to be like, oh, hey, I did this, God, like, when am I going to get this, when am I going to get that? And, like, I think that's in many ways the incentive model that had been implemented in the
Right.
system, where, like, and this is something that I've dealt with all the time, where everyone is always waiting for the money. They're
Right.
like, well, how are we going to make money off of this? Or, where's the money coming? Or, are you going to pay me to do this? People, like, literally will not, like, it's in order for people to follow the stuff that I provide, they either have to be like, uh, you know, literally touched by the divine to do the work, or it's almost, sometimes I feel like it's like they're like trying to convince me to almost like pay them somehow. It's like
Yeah.
they want me to pay them to do the work that they're being called to do with the work that I've already done. It's like, everything that I have done has been free. It's freely available. Is now, obviously, there's still like deeper content that I can create, but it's all there. It's all
Right.
there,
Right.
and because it's free, people in the frequency of the old system, they don't value it in the way that they should, because people seem to still believe that free equals not a value. But in this new reality, free is how it should be.
Right.
Like, it's everything is freely, it's bountiful. Everything is bountiful. And because it's bountiful, there is not a cost associated with it.
Right.
It's freely given to everyone. Now, but in order to value this freedom, we got to be passionate. So
Right.
when people become passionate about toe loading, they're going to go through all my content. When people get passionate about the calendar, they're going to go through the calendar. They're going to
Right.
get all this information. What are they going to do? Well, one, they're going to evangelize it, but two, like, that, it always comes back around.
Right.
So whoever provided that information, whether it happens from that person that is evangelizing it or not, like, that energy is always paid back and more.
Right.
And I think where we're heading in this new reality is having faith that we're provided for, and really, I think, like, what's happening now is we are getting the resources, we're getting the riches, the wealth of the kingdom, and everybody else that doesn't follow us is losing it all.
Yeah. I mean,
So this is
because
the
it has to.
imbalance. That's the
Yeah.
imbalance, right? Because now the money's coming to us. All the energy is with us, they need it.
Right.
They need to get in alignment with the Holy Imperium in order for them um, to receive the money, to receive the influence, to receive the power, to receive the resources. Like
Right.
it's and this is where Jesus says the meek shall inherit the earth. It's
Right.
literally happening
Exactly.
in real time.
They never thought it would happen because they thought they had exterminated all the meek, you see, because that's what they do to the prophets. They take them out. So they thought they had killed our spirit, but you can't, like, it's not theirs to kill. You know, you can't
No.
kill my spirit. So I mean, you could keep trying, but you're really like just really wasting energy because uh this energy, it didn't come from me, and it's definitely not going to stop when I'm gone. And they don't understand that. Like, that's a very, they just don't understand it. So I'm really like excited to see how this stuff plays out, because literally I have a billion, like, and I wouldn't say a billion ideas. I have at least 20 ideas, because that's another thing. Like, um I put all of my eggs in one basket, and I wouldn't do that again. I didn't diversify my finances early enough. So that's, I'm not going to make that mistake again. Like, I'm immediately going to get into diversification. Like, and because I have enough ideas, it's not like I'm lacking ideas. I'm not lacking resources. There's plenty. I know plenty of people. Like, I didn't know a lot of people when I got here, so I was very limited in that. Now I'm totally unlimited with the numbers of people that I can reach and how to reach people and all this stuff. So I have a real opportunity to take that and really push the limits of what can be done. And so, and because I'm passionate about it, and because these people have seen me like at the bottom. I mean, I never looked like I was at the bottom, but certainly people have seen it. As things start to change, they're going to see that too, and they'll be like, "Hey, whatever you did, it'll be much easier to convince that." Because that's another thing. Like, when you go into a new market and people haven't seen your whole life, they just seen this short piece. It'll be much easier to evangelize what I'm doing myself to other people, because they will see, hey, you know, we saw you a couple years ago and you were like this, and now you're like this. It's like, what happened? Like, how'd you do it? And it's like, oh yeah, I know how. I'm, you know, I could tell you it's really easy, because that's me. I'm always, that's why I think something you said earlier, I was going to mention this, is like, this is why I say you want to like make stuff easy enough for everyone to participate in, because if it's easy enough, someone will do it. But if they believe that it's hard, because you're saying, oh, it's going to be hard and it's going to be tough and you're going to have to suffer and this and that, and then people will be like, I don't think I can do that because I can't handle it mentally, this and that, so on and so forth. So if you make like the fast really really easy, like, people will they will at least attempt it, and that is the first step of getting some people. All they have to do is fast for one day, and their whole life would change, because they're already in the abundant energy. And to just go through a little small season of lack will change their whole life, like, and it would be immediate. But they would never know, because whenever they have done any kind of fasting or anything like that, they've been focused on the food instead of focused on the cultivating the passion. Because basically that's what you're doing when you feast or when you fast. They're two opposite ends of the same energy. And so now I also think that passion is probably the highest vibration, even higher than authenticity, because you can't be passionate until you're authentic. Like, there is no, oh, I'm going to be passionate about something, but you're inauthentic as a person. You might be good at it, right? That's what we see with all of these artists out today. They're good at what they do, but they're no Michael Jackson. He was passionate because he was authentic. He was authentically who he was. And you don't see any of these artists embracing their own authenticity, which is why you don't see them with any passion.
Wow. Yeah, I agree for sure.
So that should be like something that, we put our energy
And they
into.
flamed him. I mean,
Oh my
who
gosh.
who
Oh
who would
gosh.
have who would have ever bleached their skin like that? That in itself is a testimony of someone that is passionate about who they are, what they are.
Well, he didn't bleach his skin.
So
He
what
has
did he do?
he has vitiligo. So
That
vitiligo I think it's called vitiligo. But what happens is on black people, if you don't have enough of a certain mineral, I had taken a picture of it, but I saw. Okay, so let me tell you how I know that he didn't. Well, people do bleach your skin, but he didn't. Um, what happens is if you have a deficiency in a certain mineral, you will get like white spots on your skin, like if you're black. And basically, what will happen is if you don't correct that, which you corrected with raw milk, by the way. But anyway, if you don't correct that, then what will happen is you will lose, your body starts to process all the melanin in your skin. So you lose all the melanin in your skin because your body processes it because it's not getting enough of a different mineral. And raw milk totally solves the problem. Raw milk,
Yeah,
raw
raw milk.
cheese.
And I think also part of the issue is
What
they
is
don't
it?
get sun. A lot of these people that get these the video the that thing is they're not getting any sun. And because they're
That's
not getting any sun, the melanin basically gets, because why are they turning white? Well, white makes you more sensitive to the sun. So
right.
it's like the skin is basically turning white to try to absorb as much sunlight as possible.
Right.
And obviously I could almost guarantee that the treatments that the medical system says is don't get the sun. And look at Michael Jackson. He always
Here we
had the
go.
umbrella. He always had, it was
Right.
always like no sun, essentially. At least that's kind of what it seemed to be.
Okay, I
um
found it. I found the tweet. It's from a Jonas. What's his? You know who I'm talking about? A Jonas, the one that they're always
yeah.
talking about. Okay,
Wander planets.
yeah, yeah. I can't. Don't get. Okay, you know who I'm talking about. So it says that Michael Jackson got it because of all the chemical lifts that he did. Okay, always when you have that kind of vitiligo and there's no dry skin involved, and there's no dry skin involved with it, then what it is your body, that place on your body removing bone, starting to eat your bone away to get the minerals, and that causes a heavy vitamin D absorption in that area. It doesn't mean you're not getting sun there. It means the body's absorbing any tan that you will get immediately. Any light that comes in and transforms that fat into vitamin D, it absorbs it immediately and leaves that area white. Because if you've been on a good diet and you're eating cheese with some pineapple, then you're able to get enough minerals so your body isn't eating your bone to do it. He says he had it terribly when he had cancer of the bone and blood. He had spots that would be white instantly and never get sunshine. And that was because my bone was disintegrating because of the cancer. But as soon as I was able to reverse the bone cancer, it stopped. So when you have that vitiligo, it's your body is literally eating the bone and it's turning your skin white and just stealing all the vitamin D out of your body. So that's what happened to him. Plus, he was like chemically
Wow.
Michael Jackson was also chemically castrated as a child. Joe, his
Oh,
daddy did
what?
that to him. Yeah, his daddy did that to him. That came out after Joe Jackson died,
For what?
so
Why
he
did
could
he do
sing
it?
high. No, his father did it to him because
Yeah,
he
right.
wanted him to make him some money. Yeah, so he could sing, so he could continue to sing high pitched. He had him chemically castrated, which is a horrible, horrible thing. So that probably is what started it, but so the raw cheese corrects that. So again, when
Mm.
you said the raw cheese thing, that is it corrects so many things.
Uh-huh.
It
Yeah,
corrects so
the
many
raw
things.
cheese, the raw cheese with honey combined is the minerals. So things like arthritis, osteoporosis, to strengthen the bones, you need minerals. The combination of the honey and the cheese remineralizes the body. Now, if you're just eating the cheese alone, it acts as a sponge and it soaks up all the toxins. We
Right.
haven't had that. Like, there is no food in our system that has the raw fat capabilities to be able to absorb the toxins and then release them. So, the reason why cancer is skyrocketing is because the toxicity in the body is getting so intense that
Right.
the cancer has to come about to deal with the toxicity. And now that we have all these all these like weight
The
loss,
GLP-1s, I was
yeah,
just thinking about those.
that's going
Ugh,
to worsen the situation
it's
because
gonna be horrible.
the fat is what is protecting people from the toxicity. So if people are removing the fat, where is the toxins going to go? Well, they're going to go on
Exactly.
the bones, the
Yep.
bone marrow, and they're going to go on the brain. So this is where the dementia is going to skyrocket. The
Oh my
Alzheimer's is going to
gosh.
skyrocket. People are going to start like basically breaking their bones. I mean, they're going to just be disintegrating. And I mean, the celebrities are going to crash out in the next 5 years
Right.
for
If
sure.
that. If
And
that.
so who's going to save them? The cheese.
The cheese. They're gonna be so mad. It's gonna be like, we have to do what? Yes, eat raw cheese.
Uh-huh.
So that means you need to invest in cows. Like, who's that
Yes,
guy who
right.
we're talking about?
Bill Gates?
Bill Gates. Yes, Bill Gates. We need you to invest in cows that will just provide nothing but raw cheese if you want to save your friends. Okay.
And then Bill Gates will be like, "Oh, I'm one of the largest, or actually, I think the largest landowner in America.
Right.
I have all these cows. Wow, instead of like trying to kill them, now I can actually like, build a business providing raw unsalted cheese." I mean, the thing is, like, it's just beautiful that this is all playing out
Right.
in such beautiful,
It's amazing.
spectacular, magnificent ways. And it's like, at the end of the day, we don't have a say. We
No.
just happen to be the anointed ones that have his favor, that we're able to kind of be almost like his puppets, like, hey, look at me, I'm so awesome, I'm in alignment, come follow me. But it's all God. It's all
Right.
God.
We're just flowing. I mean, you
Yes,
talked about
yes.
this earlier too. It's like once you get into the flow of things, it's really, really difficult to be taken out of that state. I mean, they had to work really hard to get me out of that state. I mean, I told you my friend, her son died. It was tragic. It's not like, oh, I just popped out of the state. No, they used every possible trigger they could to trigger me out of my natural state of abundance. And I mean, sometimes it works, and this is why you need a robust community, because with a robust community that wouldn't have happened. But my community was so they really just caught me when I was already down. Like, I didn't have a big community, I was new and all this stuff. So once you have things like that taken care of, like, that's what the Holy Imperium is. It's a community. So when somebody is having, these temptations, from Satan to basically crash out, the community can feel, the community can support you. This is why you can't do it alone. And that's another thing. Like, everybody wants to be a lone wolf. You can't. You can't be a lone wolf. You have to have a group. You have to have a family, a home to plug into. And that's what the Holy Imperium to me is. It's this family that we're building, that is going to be a family of people who want to see, things get better, and who are not content with things just continuing on. And like you said, with the whole thing in Jacksonville, it's already starting to show up. I didn't know that's what these people was going to do. I had no idea. I wasn't
Yeah,
even
in
thinking
your
about it.
neck of the woods.
I mean, I just literally like went to the farmers market because I go every week, and I
Wow,
found, oh wow, they're giving away money, and I mean, they're gonna do it until it runs out. I mean,
that's
hey, that's great.
wild. Yeah, because
I had
usually
no
it'd be like,
idea.
if you're lucky, just you're in the right place, right time. You get one voucher.
Right.
But the fact that this is like continuously
Yeah.
until it runs out, like, wow,
Right.
that's
And
just
like they're gonna
brilliant.
stop. Like they're not gonna get another grant like that. That would be crazy. All of these little law firms, they can give $100,000. I mean, it would greatly expand entrepreneurship. I mean, somebody should be doing a study. I bet you the number of entrepreneurs in the arts in Jacksonville just explodes because this the kind of opportunity you don't get. Because that means all the vendors too can go up there and get things and spend it with the other vendors. You know what I
Yep.
mean? It's not limited.
And a
It's
lot of them barter.
unlimited. Yeah, they
Like a lot of them
barter.
are like,
Oh
hey, you
yeah.
want my food? I love a
Yeah, of
plate.
course.
I see that on TikTok all the time.
Yeah, they barter. Of course they do, because you don't want to eat your same food all the time. You don't want your same vegetables, your same all your own stuff all the time. Of course, it would only make sense. So just this is the kind of investment that pays off. And that's what we're going to see. But and it builds the community. Just the whole way the thing happened was just so. I went back with my daughter and I was like, hey, go get you some of them coins, get you whatever food you. Oh, let me tell you the rest of the story. So I took my daughter back over there so she could get hers, because she no of course when I come I always come by myself, so I made her get up. I was like, I'm gonna take you over here, go and get your whatever, go and get you something to eat, right? So she gets something to eat. She's like, oh, can we stop at the gas station? So we stop at the gas station and then we're getting ready to go home, and she's like, oh, do you want this food? I don't really like it. And I'm like, not really. So a guy walks down, like a homeless guy, and he's like, do you have any food? I need some money for food. And I was like, let's just give him this food. So we end up giving him the food. Now, mind you, it was hot. It was good. There was nothing wrong with it. She just didn't like it. She's very picky. So we ended up giving him this hot food. And he was like, wow, thank you.
Wow.
Like, that's amazing. Like, did stuff like
I
that.
mean,
I mean,
this is trickle down economics. Like this is actually trickle down
um,
economics.
real trickle down economics. Wow. Wow. And all she had to do, now she didn't go home with anything, but she had a piece of fish. She got the things. I'm going to use some of the money to get the stuff for her party. So it's like, it literally
Mm.
all like, it all worked together. But again, if you just focused on yourself, so mind you, if I would have just said, look, I got my $40, I ain't going to worry about these kids. All they do is, I said, nope, come on, get up, let's go. You're gonna go here, even if you don't want it, you're gonna get it, and we're gonna use it for your party. Just go in there and get it. It's like, holy smokes, this is amazing. This turned out to be this whole thing where we ended up feeding a homeless guy with
Wow.
with money that was given, from this law firm. This is the kind of stuff that can't be quantified. And that's why I'm glad I get to tell the story, because nobody would believe it. Stuff like this used to happen to me all the time, and it'd be like nobody would believe this. But now it's like, it's even more unbelievable, because it's like, I know that it's not the government, like, you know orchestrating it. This is no way the government could orchestrate something this perfect. Like, to just be pulling up to the corner, at just the right time to be able to hand this plate out the window to the guy. Like, the government can't do that, no matter what.
Yeah, it's just a different energy.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't have it. They don't have the motion. They really don't. And the only way they're going to get a little bit of motion is if they join the energy of the Imperium. They can't have no motion if they're out here on their own on an island. And that's why I think a lot of this stuff that is going to have to go the way that we say, because we're the
Uh-huh.
only ones with motion. They don't have no
Yeah,
motion.
all these people had so much time. They've had
Yeah.
all the time in the world to figure their shit out, to have the motion, and their motion is, oh, I got money.
Right.
Oh, I got this house. Oh, I got this company.
Right.
What's show me your energy. Show me your energy motion. And no, having doesn't matter if you have $100 million or $1 billion or $10 billion. That doesn't mean you got motion.
Nope.
And what's happening now is, like, with these people that have all this money, all this power, supposedly all this influence, like, if your energy is not right, nobody wants to be around you.
No.
Nobody can deal. There's no amount of money now that will be enough for people to deal with the nonsense of these people.
Look at Nancy Pelosi. She's retiring. That's your proof whether what you're saying is true. There's no amount of money that could convince anybody to vote for Nancy Pelosi again. That's why she's dropping out. She knows she don't have a chance. She's done too much. She's gone too far. I mean, she needs to be in jail, but I think losing her power is enough. This will be the first time, I think, in 60 years she haven't been in a political office.
Wow,
How
crazy.
much time do you think she has alive? Like, this is these are these are company people. You know, the demons made them. The company made them. And so when they retired, they look at Dianne Feinstein. She barely, like, she only, like, basically got forced to at least resign so they could put Kamala in for her little
Mm,
plan to get to the presidency. So all of that little shady politicking and stuff that they've been doing in California, is the chickens are coming home to roost. Schumer's going to lose his seat to AOC if they're not stupid enough to try to run her for president. I just, that would just be a waste of energy. But for sure, he's going to lose his seat to AOC. So these people are being pushed out. And I'm not saying AOC is better or worse. I'm just saying that's obviously what's going to happen. They know it. They're positioning her in that manner. So all of these politicians, these company men and women who have been in politics all this time and have not done anything to advance, make people's lives better, they're basically being put out in shame. They're not going away quietly into the darkness. They're literally being shamed out. And that's the worst thing you can
yeah.
do to these people, is
Yes.
shame
Yeah.
them.
Right. Yeah. Just make fun of them.
Yeah, they're relentlessly. Nancy Pelosi is being made fun of. Chuck Schumer's being I mean, the Democrats are more upset at Chuck Schumer, I think, than this is how I know they didn't win. Like, because of how angry these people are. I mean, they're always angry, but you would think that if they won this election, they would be okay with Chuck capitulating, but they weren't. They weren't happy. The elections that they won were not enough for them to be happy about the capitulation of Chuck Schumer, which is how I know they didn't really win. Energetically, they didn't win. Let's put it that way. In the energy, they didn't win. I don't know if they literally cheated or not. I'm not going to say that, but that's how I know that energetically they lost, because their people are all super mad at them. All of their people are mad at them. Like Blue Sky, I just, before we started the social media fast, Blue Sky was on fire. Those people were so mad. And now that they've reopened the government until the end of January, so I mean, again, they don't have any motion and any energy, and eventually we are going to have to put some energy into not allowing them to do another government shutdown to try to basically win the next election, because now they see that that's a strategy that works. So we have to put an end to that. So I will have to think about that, but they can't do this again to people. This is unacceptable. Totally unacceptable to do this. These are people. These are humans. You can't just play with their lives for votes. We're not going to be playing that game. So, well, I think I better go to sleep.
Yeah. Yeah. I think this was great. We spoke
This
for a
was a
few hours.
great. I know. This was, all these talks are so important though. We can't, like, go without them too long, because there's so much information that needs to be hashed out, and people need to see the process. Like I always say that, like, that's one thing the millionaires and the billionaires don't do. They don't let people see the process. And so they don't understand that there is a process. Like, this stuff doesn't just, like, come out of nowhere. It's real effort that, has, and thought that has to be put into this stuff to make it work. And they cut everybody out of the process because they're so worried about someone stealing their intellectual property. But you can't
Yeah.
steal
Right.
what's in me. Like, it's
Uh
in
huh.
me. It's not on me. So you can't steal that. Like, you can, I guess, maybe copy it, but please copy it, because we need more people doing this stuff. Like, we absolutely need, energetically, if we had 5 other people that were, like, operating on this high of a level, doing this kind of thing, this place would be turned around in no time. even if it was just one other person, like one other group that was functioning on this level, this planet would be, you know, everything would be much better. But
Yeah, that's why we clean it up, because there ain't
right,
it's a like it's free reign, and it's just like something like walking on the toes. Like it's virgin. It's
right,
completely virgin. And this is how it's been with all these narratives. It's like I find them, or they're given to me. I mean, they're all given to me, but like they're found, and there's nobody there.
right.
It's like it's like, I was gonna say the Wild West, but there was
No,
actually
you're right.
technically
No, that's
people
a
there.
good.
But it's like you enter into completely unexplored territory, and obviously the first thing for me is, well, I'm gonna gobble up as much as I can, not
Right,
for myself, because for the empire. I mean,
right,
I've been doing this whole empire building for years now, because I knew that the power and the might of the empire is energetic. And I didn't
right,
know, I didn't know how it was going to look, or this or that, but all I knew was, well, if I invest as much as I can of my energy into these narratives that are completely virgin, like
right,
when they start to increase, I'm going to get paid energy.
right.
And so now it's become just so second nature that God is like, okay, well, he clearly knows what he's doing. So let's
Right,
just keep feeding him these narratives that are aligned. And I mean, that's the legitimacy of the empire. It's not because
right,
I've just said, oh, it's the empire, this. No, it's because there's real gravitas, there's real energy that backs the empire. All these other groups, all these other people, they don't even know what is left or right.
no, they have no idea what's going on. Absolutely
So
no
so
idea.
they can keep doing what they're doing, but guys, you're gonna eventually join up with us. So the sooner
Right,
you start moving towards us and supporting us and showing devotion and loyalty, the
the
better
better.
it's gonna be for you guys. Because again, we're on a rocket ship. Ain't nobody slowing us down. If they
Right,
want to join us, great. If they don't, great. It doesn't matter. It doesn't
right,
matter. We're still
right.
gonna do it.
You can't, because we got motion. You can't once
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
what is that rule? An object in motion will stay in motion, and an object at
Yes.
rest will stay at rest. Like that's why we can't slow down, because once we slow down, once we come to a rest, then we're gonna stay at rest. And somebody once said, "You, I'll sleep when I die." That's all. I sleep a little bit, but yeah, I sleep when I die. Like that's how I feel about this. Like I'll sleep on my things that I'm passionate about when I die. But until I die, I'm going to move full steam ahead on the things that I'm passionate about, even if I'm only passionate. And they call that like autistic or something, but I'm like, I'm pretty sure I'm not autistic, but I do have a lot of those tendencies, but it's like this is just what passion is. These people are those they are I mean, I think that's a good example of what pure passion looks like. Like they like what they like, and that's all they like, and they don't want to be bothered by anybody who's not talking about what they like. I mean, that's the pure passion in its
Yep.
purest form. And maybe that's why there's so many people who are on the spectrum, because it gives them the capacity to experience passion. Whereas these people who are so-called normal, they don't have any passion. That's what this whole thing was
No,
about.
they just after work they just like watch TV,
Right.
and I mean it's just, it's just melting away, hoping that like time just passes. Like just
Right.
time let time pass. Like, but we're living in such like this is just, and not even the times, but like this reality is just spectacular.
Right.
And it's very important for us to appreciate it and make the most out of such a privilege that we've been given.
Right.
And that's what we're
Exactly.
bringing. That's really, I think, what we're bringing with the empire is like showing people like just how amazing it is, and giving them the tools to have an amazing time. Like there's no need to suffer. There's no need
Right.
to experience all this pain and suffering to experience heaven on earth. Like it's here, it's now. We just have to obviously do work, which, yeah, there's
Right.
going to be some pain and suffering in doing the work, but once that work is done, like the pain disappears. It doesn't exist.
Right.
It ceases
Exactly.
to exist, because the pain is really just it's just the body adapting to a higher level of energy. That's all it
Right.
is. So in the
Putting
same
you in
way that,
alignment.
yeah, when you start running, obviously there's going to be some pain in the running because the body doesn't know, hasn't been running. So
Right.
it's going to take some time. It's the same thing. It's the same thing, but obviously, a lot of people just take it personal. Like they get,
Right.
it's too much. But very soon it's all about perspective. When we shift the perspective from, as you were saying, like from it being difficult, hard, to it's like, look, just see it as like athletics, running,
Right.
working out, going to the gym, lifting weights. You're not gonna, the moment you go to the gym, you're not gonna lift 500 pounds.
No,
You're
you
gonna,
got
you
to
work
start
your way
somewhere
up.
else.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But I'll,
Exactly.
I'll, I'll, I'll definitely, yeah, I think we can end it here, or else
Oh
obviously
yeah.
we'll keep
I
talking.
know
So,
exactly. All
but
right.
yeah, this was great.
Fabulous. So we'll
Thank
talk
you.
again soon.
Awesome. Sounds good.
All right.